shot up the right side. It's New York Yankees baseball on MSG Network. From Yankee Stadium, the New York Yankees meet the Minnesota Twins. Pitching for the Twins, left-hander Alan Anderson and Scott Kamenecki will do the pitching for the Yankees. Hi again, everyone, and welcome to an afternoon of Yankees baseball, Game 3 of this 4-game series as the Yankees meet the Minnesota Twins. I'm Dwayne Statz. Nice to have you with us. Tony Kubek will be along in just a moment. Well, the Yankees are looking for their first win in this short 4-game stand. They've dropped 2 one-run ball games. Despite the last road trip when the Yankees could manage just 2 wins in Toronto, Yankees 9 of their last 11 in the loss column. Well, things are a little better than they were a year ago. And as we look at what the Yankees have done compared to the 1990 season, you can see the team average is better, more home runs. The ERA a bit higher, and most of that attributed to the starters, but they've made up 6.5 games in the standings. I'm joined by Tony Kubek now, and Tony, the spirit of this thing is better as well.
I don't think there's any question that the talent of the field is better than spring training. Anybody would love to have this bullpen. I think now that the offense appears to be better, the pitching with the kids appears to be better, the big thing now they're going to focus on is strength up the middle. They need better defense up the middle of the diamond.
And they are facing a red-hot Minnesota Twins ball club. We'll be back with all the action from Yankee Stadium following this. New York Yankees baseball is brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers, with that distinctively clean, crisp, cold taste. Nothing beats a Bud. By Nobody Beats the Wiz Home Entertainment Centers. For everything at home electronics, music, and movies, nobody beats the Wiz. And by your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealers. There's only Jeep, and it's only at your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealers. Cool afternoon at Yankee Stadium, 66 degrees, partly sunny skies, as Scott Kamenecki goes to the mound, making his second appearance in a Yankee uniform after his major league debut, in which he pitched well in Toronto and picked up a victory.
And Dwayne, Mark Connor's Kitty Cars has thrown out 3 consecutive quality starts for him. We'll have another rookie tomorrow, Jeff Johnson. Kamenecki, they would like to see him cut his pitch total down per hitter, just as they did Wade Taylor yesterday.
This is the lineup he will face, and it is a red-hot lineup. Dan Gladden leads off in left. Knobloch at second, Bush at first base in the place of Herbeck. Chili Davis, the DH, Harper and Larkin, followed by Mack, Leas, and Gagne to round out the lineup for Tom Kelly's Minnesota Twins. Here's the defensive setup for the Twins.
We talked about an improvement up the middle of the diamond, and I think that is imperative for these young pitchers that Kelly, Sachs, Espinosa, and whomever is catching push themselves to get a little bit better and position themselves better.
There's Pat Kelly at third, back in the lineup. He had aggravated that wrist injury diving over in Toronto, but he's back and ready to go. It is Neon Cap Day at Yankee Stadium, and we have a sea of Pepto-Bismol pink in the stands.
I thought it was the Tulip Festival in Holland, Michigan in the spring of the year.
There is Dan Gladden. Gladden hitting .255. He got off to a terrible start this year for the Twins. Has divided time in the outfield and at the top of the order. He started the year 1 of his first 31. And he takes a breaking ball for a strike, showing the bunt.
This Twins team, Dwayne, had a subpar April, in fact almost awful, a .500 month of May, and they've lost just 1 game thus far in the month of June.
In stark contrast to what they did last June. It was a very bad month for them a year ago. 1-1.
Tom Kelly continues to play his entire 25-man roster. And today Puckett is sitting out. Herbeck not playing. There's TK. Herbeck not playing, a little jammed shoulder when he dove 2 nights ago in the squeeze play.
A ball and a strike here. strike on that outer part of the plate. You know the thing, many things I guess to like about Tom Kelly, but one of the things I really like about him, a lot of managers, when a team is going well, become very animated, and when the team is losing, they disappear. With Kelly, it's the reverse. This pitch is high, 2-2. When his club is going well, he leaves everything alone. You have to kind of look for him. But when the team is struggling, he's the guy who's animated, who tries to keep the spirits up, keep a positive frame of mind. A roller nubbed to the right side, and with that spin, Sachs could not barehand it.
I do believe the way Dan Gladden was jammed and got an awful jump out of the batter's box. Sachs could have fielded that with his glove hand and bare hand. He chose barehanded, and they've got speed on first base in Gladden, and they are very aware of Kamenicki's move to first base. Steve Sachs could have played that with both hands. Odd at bat, because Gladden actually jammed himself with a breaking ball that was inside of his fist. And when you
gets a base hit out of it.
You know, when you see something like that, and Kamenicki's had only one major league start, you start thinking, hey, look, do they know something, talking about the hitters? Because he was looking away for a breaking ball. The breaking ball was in, a very hittable pitch, and he jammed himself.
Here's Chuck Knobloch. 288, young infielder out of Texas A&M. And he takes a ball.
There's no way that I'm going to give Dan Gladden a hit on that ball if I'm Fisher Star. I mean, if you look at, even without the replays available, you see where Gladden was. It was a much easier play two-handed than barehanded.
Gladden with a lead. A ball, no strikes, the count on Knobloch. Well, I think in evaluating the play from Sachs' perspective, Tony, he put into the computer, there's a fast runner at the plate. This is the way I have to make the move. I don't think he really looked at where the runner was.
Got a
could not barehand it.
Guy who hits the ball in the right field very well right now, although Gladden not getting a big lead because of Kamenicki's move. We talked up in Toronto as to whom the first umpire would be, who would call a balk on Kamenicki with those quick feet he's got. He's kind of borderline.
Yeah, they have Dale Scott at first base for this one. Tim Welke behind the plate. High pop fly to center. Roberto Kelly for the first out. Gladden back to first. Well, a lot of good moves. I would say maybe most good moves are very close to a balk move.
Well, they are done, especially by left-handed pitchers, to deceive the runner, which you're not supposed to do. In fact, talking to one or two of the Yankee coaches, they felt that Kamenicki balked one time. One of the moves, he shuffled his feet so quickly.
Here's Randy Bush.
You want to watch the left knee and that left foot of Kamenicki on his moves to first base. When he cracks that left knee, it's usually a sign for the base runner. The front knee, he is going home.
Bush drives this one back into center. Kelly backs up to make the catch. Here's a tag by Gladden, and he will stop. Kelly backed up and got himself into very good throwing position when he made that catch. So Roberto Kelly handling the pop fly by Knobloch, and this fly ball to center by Bush. 2 outs. Gladden still at first, and Chili Davis, the designated hitter, will be the hitter for Minnesota. And boy, Chili Davis has come to Minnesota and given them much more, I think, than they even expected from him.
And he is so contented as we look at the Franklin batting leaders in the home run derby. Seiko, Joe Carter, Chili Davis, Cecil Fielder sneaking up after a slow start. Dave Henderson cooling off a little bit from Oakland, as is that entire Oakland team. You know, Kamenicki's got the kind of fastball, if he throws it middle of the plate out and down, it's tough for a left-hander to pull in the stadium because it's got that little late tail. Not a sinker, but it'll tail away, as we saw in his first outing.
It's almost tailor-made to pitch here. Gladden 6 of 11 in the running department. Reaching on the infield hit. The slugging percentage tied for 3rd in that department. 5th in total bases. And back in again. Yamanaki had won 6 and lost 3 at Columbus, putting together a .236 earned run average. Getting the call to the Yankees when Chuck Carey went the other way.
You think of this Twins team as a free swinging team, and yet their on base average is 30 points higher than the Yankees. They're sitting at .345, which is near the top of the league. Some of that is because of their hitting ability and the artificial surface in Minnesota, which translates into more base hits.
Twins in first place by 4 full games over Oakland. 4.5 up on Seattle.
And they're playing much better baseball on the road. 5 games above 500. Remember their World Championship here in '87? They couldn't buy a win on the road.
This one wide. A ball, no strikes. And with this latest stretch, winning 22 out of 24, we're starting to get all of the comparisons from that '87 season. Ron Gardenhire, the third base coach. Wayne Terwilliger is across the diamond at first. Little number foul. The count goes to a ball and a strike.
You know, we talked about Kamenicki's move. There is Wayne Terwilliger, the first base coach, and they are still trying to figure out not only the move to first, but that quick release to home plate. Almost a slide step, and Kamenicki does it almost every pitch to home plate with a man on first.
He drops this one over, but low. So the count is 2 balls and a strike. Kamenicki, 27 years old. Yankees will be looking at Alan Anderson, a 27-year-old left-hander.
You know, you always think of a guy who's got a good move to first and is quick to home as thwarting the base stealing game, but it's also very important. The guy doesn't get a good jump, can't go first to third. Doesn't get a good enough jump in a double play situation where he can take out the pivot man if he's held a couple of steps closer.
Kamenicki, 2 balls and a strike to the cleanup hitter, the DH, Chili Davis.
You get the feeling that the Twins hitters didn't do much yesterday. Wade's hitter was in a very quick rhythm, getting his side, throwing the ball, that they're starting to take a little more time to make the young pitchers wait a little bit more today.
There goes Gladden. The pitch is a strike and a double pump by Guerin. The throw not in time. Gladden steals his 7th base. That's another part of the Twins game that has been much better during their streak.
He picked the changeup to go on, and then Bob Guerin gets the ball stuck in his glove on the changeup down and in to Chili Davis. Not the easiest ball to throw on. We have to backhand it.
So Gladden with a steal.
This team does a lot of things, doesn't it? Not only catch the ball, and they are
getting great starting pitching. They're running.
Team well versed in fundamentals, and Tom Kelly insists on it. Plus, they're playing very enthusiastically.
Two here on Davis. And a fly ball headed to right. Jesse Barfield country. And that takes care of Minnesota in the first. No runs for the Twins. A hit. They leave Gladden aboard. Bottom of the first coming. Twins nothing. Yankees coming in to hit. Yankees are facing a left-hander this afternoon. Alan Anderson, a fellow whom they have never beaten. He's 4-4 this year with an earned run mark of 4.26 in lifetime against the Yankees. Sports a record of 5-0.
And he's learned from start to start you can't pitch exactly the same way. Dick Such sometimes hasn't thrown the forkball, sometimes a change, sometimes a sinker. Got a much more wide variety of pitches than last year and 2 years ago.
The Yankees will send this lineup against the southpaw. Steve Sachs leading off. Mattingly, the DH, with Roberto Kelly in center. Moss at first base, followed by Barfield and Mullins in left. Espinosa back at shortstop with Guerin hitting eighth catching, and Pat Kelly at third hitting ninth. The defensive arrangement for the Twins. Pretty good infield.
Yeah, you don't lose anything in center field with Shane Mack out there, with Kirby Puckett getting a rest, and Roberto Kelly will tell you that about last night with that throwing arm. Three shortstops, Leyes, Gagne, and Knobloch, and gives him that quickness defensively.
Well, there's Sachs to start it for the Yankees. Anderson has won his last 3 decisions after dropping 4 in a row.
I think he's regained confidence in that fastball. He fell in love with the change last year and the year before. His fastball was better in Minnesota against the Yankees.
Ball 1. You beat the Yankees 6-3 in Minnesota. 1-1.
And against these left-handers, somebody's going to have to step forward with the right-handed bats for this Yankees lineup, whether it's a Hensley, Mullins, or Guerin, or some of the other right-handers with power.
Sachs with a .350 lifetime average against Anderson. The count is now a ball and 2 strikes. Anderson's the fellow who started the Twins on this stretch. He got them started on their winning streak. Now taking the first 2 games in this series, 19 out of their last 20 and 20 of their last 22. And a base hit into center. Sachs reaching out, got it right back through the middle, out of the reach of Knobloch. So the Yankees put their leadoff man aboard in the first.
Sachs keeps pushing that average closer and closer to 280. A couple of weeks ago, he thought about a goal of maybe 290 for the season. He may be 290 by the All-Star break.
There's Mattingly at 295. Yankees tried to come back last night. Dropped a 4-3 ball game. Lost the first night 5-4.
Stump's been hit and running with Mattingly now that he's back in the 2 spot.
And there's the strike. They have Leyes at third, way off the line. There's Stump Merrill looking on.
Anderson will not strike out a lot. Makes you put the ball in play.
It's going to be out of play. Foul ball, and the count is 0-2. Buck Showalter, the Yankees' third base coach. Sachs at first, nobody out, a 2-strike count to Mattingly. Upstairs. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
You don't like for a lot of hitters to start a runner when the hitter is in the hole. With Mattingly, his bat control is so great, even 1-2, even 0-2, it would not be an exceptional thing to start Sachs.
And he pops it up on the left side. Gagne, a couple of steps into the outfield for this one. So Mattingly pops out to the shortstop. That's the first out. And Roberto Kelly will hit. Roberto right now hitting .241. He had down to the lineup last night and went 1 for 3 in the number 3 spot today.
And over the last couple of games, with Gagne with the eye black, and Ozzie again, he's always up there somewhere, isn't he? Somebody said he's washed up.
Kelly fouls this one back, strike 1. Well, the Twins always felt Gagne was a good shortstop, and he's given them a little offense, maybe a little more than a couple years ago people expected he might.
Terrific base runner. Definite difference in the last couple of days in Roberto Kelly's hitting style. He's trying to wait longer and hit the ball the opposite way.
Whoops, they have Sachs picked up. Bush runs it towards second, and Sachs is picked off first base. Knobloch put the tag on him.
But out as a caught stealing. He made the attempt to go to second base. It wasn't a great move. It was just a quick look and a quick snap, but Sachs apparently had in mind, first move, he's going. He was guessing, and he guessed wrong.
He may have stepped on Knobloch as well.
Tried to bowl him over.
Yeah, I think he got his left foot, but Knobloch's all right. So a caught stealing the third time this year. Sachs has been caught. And Kelly's in the hole, 0-2. So the Yankees lose the base runner. There's a base hit. The pitch hung up there, and Kelly singled through the middle.
He guessed wrong, and he took a seat.
So the base hit by Kelly gives Kevin Moss a chance to swing the bat against the left-hander.
And they will, even with the left-handed pitcher Anderson, move Gagne over to the first base side of second. They did it yesterday, the last couple of days, for all three left-handers. Of course, Hall is not in the lineup today. They do it for Noakes. He's not in the lineup today. I think it's interesting when you look at the charts and talking to some advanced scouts. Kevin Moss, and this includes last year when he came up, has not yet had a ground ball to the third base side of second. And that's one of the reasons you see this shift.
And he takes a strike.
Now he's bunted down there and beaten out a bunt. He's tried that a couple of times. And Stump Merrill was telling me, he said, you know, this kid, he said he had terrific power to left and right center field. But in Yankee Stadium, you can see what this short porch does. He's become almost strictly a pull hitter.
Anderson drops it low and away. 1 ball, 1 strike. We're in the bottom of the first. Very comfortable afternoon at Yankee Stadium. Third game of the 4-game series. Twins in town tomorrow night as well. Scott Erickson will pitch against Jeff Johnson tomorrow, and we'll have that game right here on MSG Network.
Erickson looking for his 12th win.
Blocked by Harper. 2 balls and a strike.
You know, the move the Twins made, and Andy MacPhail, from a great line of MacPhails, grandpa in baseball and father, they went out and got Jack Morris, not just for his pitching prowess. They went out because they thought he'd be a good influence on the young kid, and I think it has really served a purpose. His work ethic is so good, and it's rubbed off on a lot of these young pitchers.
2-1. Moss getting time.
We talked about that when we saw Alan Anderson in Minnesota. Not only that, Jack Morris has helped refine the Alan Anderson forkball.
Yep.
Split finger, if you will.
2-2. That one disappeared. So the count squared.
Well, yesterday, Tapani threw inside a lot to left-handed hitters. Dangerous in the stadium, but he did it. It will affect the pitches. Today, Anderson throwing change-ups to a pull hitter, Yankee Stadium. Something that you don't see too often, even left-handed hitter. But he just pulled a string on Moss.
And again, Kelly back in at first base. Well, Anderson last year lost 18 games. He was 7-18 after winning 17 the year before and 16 during the '88 season.
Heck, they sent him back down to the minor leagues, didn't they? When he was struggling.
Things started to turn around for him a little bit. Whoops, there goes Kelly, and a toss to first, and Kelly's in there. The throw from Bush away from Gagne, and Kelly hangs on at second. That's going to be a steal for Kelly, who was breaking and was caught off, but goes in at second base safely.
When that happens twice in the first inning, you better go in and change your signs immediately, because something's happening. Either they're stealing them from Stump Merrill or on the bench or through Buck Showalter. Those are Herbecks there. They've got another out.
For Kelly, his 13th steal. The count on Moss is 2 balls and 2 strikes. So Kelly moves into scoring position. It's been a tough spot for Moss this year. Facing a tough left-hander. And he bounces it foul into the Yankee dugout. Going to take a 2-out single.
Stump has a theory on Kevin Moss, aside from Yankee Stadium, becoming such a severe pull hitter as opposed to a power hitter to all fields, left center to the right field line. He thinks that when Evans was here as a hitting instructor last year, he'd always been up on the plate, but he concentrated more on the top hand. You can see that top hand roll over where he pulls everything, even pitches away and breaking like the last one.
The 2-2 again. He shoots this one deep into the upper deck, but well fouled. Holding the count at 2-2.
It's the area of the stadium where they didn't even pay attention to bringing their gloves, because you don't get foul balls up there, do you? Not too often.
It's about 10, 12 rows from the top.
Yeah.
Mouse hitting 157 with men in scoring position. There goes Kelly to third. There'll be no play, and the pitch is wide. Now Kelly will get credit for his second steal of the inning.
And Roberto feeling he could beat Leas, the third baseman, playing at the shortstop position, to third base, and he did. It's one of those you're just giving him third base. You want to take it. There's 2 outs.
You never know. 3-2 on Moss with Barfield waiting.
Well, he scored an infield error, infield hit, balks, wild pitches, pass balls.
High fly ball back into right. Larkin drifting, not yet on the track, and he'll make the catch to retire the side. No runs for the Yankees, a couple hits, and a man left at the end of 1. Twins nothing, Yankees nothing. There are many different ways to wear your neon Yankee cap, and that's one of them, with a slight tilt to the right side. Some would tilt it to the left, others right down the middle.
God, that's an awful color. Isn't it?
Here's Brian Harper, who takes a strike.
Well, no, I shouldn't say that, because you had a tie that had,
yeah, I kind of like
nice
that.
hand-painted pink pigs on it.
That's
a
right.
couple of weeks ago.
Liner to Sachs. Hot shot by Harper. 1 gone. Don Mattingly on the Yankee bench, fulfilling the role as the designated hitter in this game. See the list there. Most active at first base, Mattingly, 1,055 games.
Remember last year they were going to have a plan when his back was severely injured and he missed all the ball games, and they said at the end of the year, when he did come back, we're going to have a plan. We're going to play him 5 days in a row or so, then DH him or put him on the bench, and this season started where they didn't do that.
Nope.
But Donnie was insistent that his back was okay. He wanted to play. He went to Minnesota in the artificial surface in Seattle, and all those games on the West Coast, and it was a very hot May, and he played. Well, he's had a little stiffness.
And he's starting to realize that he's going to have to back off occasionally and give it a break. 2 strikes the count on Gene Larkin, the right fielder. And a chop back through the middle. Sachs backhands it, but cannot get a throwaway. That's going to be the second hit of the ball game for Minnesota.
You know, I think this Yankee team could use an eye in the sky. I really do. I see where the National League, Bill White, they took Joe Ferguson out of the Dodgers. The eye in the sky there, because they thought he was doing more than just placing defense, maybe stealing pitches or whatever else. But I think that's a very valuable thing, something that George Steinbrenner put in his old football days.
Here's Shane Mack. He's hitting 267. Number to the right side. Moss down to short. Bad throw, and everybody's safe. They should have gotten at least 1, but the throw by Moss very high, pulling Espinosa away from the bag, and Espinosa could get nothing on his throw back to first, and everyone is safe.
One of those where, with Mack running with his speed, a ball chopped off the air, not hit well, that Kevin should have realized, and this is when you don't play first base every day, an experience factor, that he was only going to get 1 to start with, and should have taken that certain out at second base. He rushed it and was charged with an error.
That'll be an error to Moss, his second of the year. A fielder's choice and an error. So Scott Kamenecki in a spot here with only one out and runners at first and second. Scott Leyes. Leyes has been a pleasant surprise offensively for the Twins. He spent some time with Terry Crowley, the hitting coach. Breaking ball, and he lays off ball one. He's hitting .269. Was never a great hitter in the Twins system. They thought he had a tendency to pull off the ball a little bit and maybe drop that back shoulder. So they worked on a couple of those adjustments, and he's, to this point, paid off for them.
A Yonkers lad. You know, I think that's, you mentioned the new hitting instructor, Terry Crowley, and Tony Oliva still serves somewhat in that capacity, but I think he has made this team a little more patient, a little more selective, maybe even guess a little bit more for certain pitches in certain situations, as opposed to Oliva, who was a great hitter, but he was a free swinger. I mean, Tony just reacted to the baseball, and Crowley more thoughtful, and he's passed some of this on to these hitters.
1-1 the count. Kamenecki stepping back. Interesting to get the perspective, Tony, of some of the fellows who've gone from playing and then a few years pass and now they're hitting instructors, and to have them look back as to when they were hitters and their attitudes about hitting and hitting instructors and so forth, and the way they deal with players today. Fly ball into left. Mullins takes care of this one for the second out. Crowley, for an example, said he came up, spent 4 or 5 years in the big leagues, and wound up then in Cincinnati and went over there, and he thought, well, I've been in the big leagues 5 years, I know how to hit. And yet he saw Joe Morgan over there and Rose, the great hitters they had at that time. They would spend countless hours with Ted Kluszewski on the hitter's tee. Crowley said, I started to realize that maybe I didn't know as much about hitting as I thought I did.
Catalog all those ideas, don't you?
Yep.
And throw out what you don't need, see what applies to you and the guys you're going to try and teach.
This is Gag. A ball, no strikes, the count. Greg Gagne hitting .282. Larkins at second, and Mack is aboard at first. 2 gone. Nice play by Bob Guerin. 2-0.
It's one of those areas where Mark Connor has been very emphatic in all his pregame meetings and his critiques after the young pitchers, that when you get in trouble, you don't necessarily try and throw harder. And we saw in the second start, Wade Taylor, third start rather, and the second of Jeff Johnson, that the Mark Connor's theories worked if they listen to him. But he knows he has to be patient.
Yes! And Gagne with a fly ball into right. This should do it. Barfield takes care of this one.
Whoops.
Jesse not taking any chances out there, just in case. But that's the third one, Jesse. We're going to the bottom of the second. No score. Yankees baseball brought to you in part by the 9X Yellow Pages. If it's out there, it's in here. From Yankee Stadium. No score. Yankees and the Twins. And Jesse Barfield will lead it off. Barfield, Mullins, and Espinosa. Hope you had a chance to see the Yankee scorecard with the Jesse Barfield family featured. Jesse takes one 2 wide, ball 1. Two balls, no strikes. Barfield has connected a couple times against Anderson. Fouls this one back. 2-1. Jesse liked the general location of that pitch. Barfield solo homer in the Metrodome, and then came back his next at bat, hit a 2-run shot against Anderson. 3 balls and a strike.
Anderson, the kind of guy now, 2-1. He threw a curveball, and he's got such great faith in his changeup. He might even throw it 3-1. He throws a sinker.
Down to third. Ball comes up on Leyes, but he stays with it and gets Barfield.
It's a situation where last year, even the year before, Anderson didn't have a pitch to get hit or out. When he got behind, he'd have to go to the changeup, and his fastball wasn't overpowering. But now he's got the sinker ball, so 3-1. He turns it over, and he trusts his defense. Scott Leyes, who is playing well off the line. Usually when an Anderson pitches, there will be a lot of balls hit to the left side of the diamond. Even for hitters who are not pull hitters, the shortstop will play in the hole because of his changeup and forkball.
Here's Hensley Mullins. And he strokes one into left. Gladden cutting across. Makes the pickup on one hop, and Mullins will make the big turn and stop at first. So Hensley Mullins, who's 24 years old today, jumped on the first pitch and lines a single into left.
When you build your team for artificial surface, it helps on dirt and grass too, doesn't it? That looked like double or triple all the way, and it was cut off by Gladden. How old is Hensley today? 23?
24 today.
It was hand painted in Curacao, wasn't it?
He just looks 23. That's right. 1 on, 1 out.
It's nice to see him pull the ball with authority. You can get in a streak where you hit the ball the opposite way too much and lose your power.
Espinosa, speaking of power, moved over to third base and belted his first home run, playing shortstop again today.
He said,
to strike the count.
He said he put his Arnold Schwarzenegger swing on it yesterday.
He had the inside the park home run last year against the Twins up in Minnesota in July. There goes Mullins, and the pitch is fouled. Bounced through the coaching box. So the Yankees had the runner going with Espinosa at the plate against the lefty Alan Anderson.
Say one thing, Stump Merrill isn't backing off, is he? He's already had 1 picked off, 1 nearly picked off, and the play was botched up.
And a broken bat liner over third, backed up by Gagne, and there's a base hit. So the Yankees with 2 men on and 1 out. They have 4 hits already against Anderson. Espinosa just did get it over the infield.
You could hear it shatter all the way up here, that little cut fastball. If Gagne had looked immediately to second base, Mullins was frozen. He didn't know if that ball was going to be caught by Leyes, and he was about halfway down when Gagne had the ball in his glove.
Now here's Bob Guerin.
They need some run production this part of the order. 7th, 8th, and 9th place hitters against left-handed pitching. Get some continuity in their offense.
Pickoff play at second, and Mullins gets the hand back in there ahead of the tag, slapped by Knobloch. Guerin started Friday's game. Had a hit. He went 1 for 3.
This play is triggered by the catcher. You could see that Anderson was looking in the catcher, so the catcher flashed the sign, and then some kind of count play for the pitcher when he should whirl and turn.
Guerin takes it down. No ball, no strike. That base hit on Friday when he went 1 for 3. His first hit here in Yankee Stadium since the 23rd of April.
And remember, there for a while there was no platoon. Guerin struggling.
Had a tough time getting in the lineup.
Noakes was playing against left-handed pitchers too.
2-0. Guerin holding. Barfield went out third to first. On a nice play by Leyes as the ball came up on him. Mullins singled into left. Espinosa got one just over the infield for a base hit. 2 men on with 1 out, and 2-0 count to Guerin. That ball is headed into left. Out of the reach of Gagne. Mulin's being waved around. The throw by Gladden cut off, and the play's at third. Safe there. Yankees pick up the first run of the ball game, and at minute first and third. Espinosa got in under the tag at third as Mulin scores on Guerin's base hit. For Guerin, his fourth run batted in. 1-0 Yankees.
Very aggressive base running by Alvaro Espinosa, and it pays off. And the cutoff was worked almost precisely from Mack to Leyes, but Gagne, because he was chasing the ball in the hole, ended up in short left field. And by the time he could get back to third base, Leyes couldn't give him this ball right away to get Espinosa. Gladden hits the cutoff in Leyes, right where he's supposed to be, and you will see that when he catches it, Leyes did have to wait for Gagne to get to the third base bag. Good base running by Espinosa. Extremely aggressive, but very close at third.
Here's Pat Kelly fouling one away. Well, I guess if you can't be aggressive at home in the early stages of a scoreless game, you're just not going to be aggressive. The Yankees were there. They have a run, and Espinosa set up at third with Guerin at first. And Pat Kelly, who's shown signs of being a pretty good man in the clutch.
Good bunter, too, and they're trying to find out something. Remember just the other day where with Carlos Rodriguez up first and third, one out, Stump squeezed, and Herbeck hurt his shoulder diving and throwing home, and Pat Kelly, an excellent bunter. Twins have to be aware of that possibility.
Foul down in front of Buck Showalter. 2 strikes to count on Kelly. Yankees with a run and 5 hits. And it hit him.
What a break.
Kelly hit by that pitch. An 0-2 pitch. Well, that's going to load the bases. Here it is, just clipped it.
It's a Frankie Crissetti move, the Crow. To wear that size 44 Babe Ruthian shirt when he really should have been in a size 36. See when they just did a special? Was it This Week in Baseball? Somebody from ESPN did a special, a 30-minute special on Crissetti. We saw him out in Oakland, and he did a lot of talking about his days playing with the Babe and being here during the DiMaggio streak and the Garrick streak and Roger and Mickey. Quite a show.
So the bases are loaded for the Yankees with a run home. It's Abbott throwing in the bullpen. Anderson gets a visit.
There's one thing that sooner or later could come back to haunt the Twins is no left-hander in their bullpen. Little Kelly and Stump having a conversation.
To this point, especially during this stretch, the Twins have received great starting pitching. There's Sachs. Takes one down and in, ball 1.
Oh, and the Twins there, Espy at third.
Guerin's at second base, and Pat Kelly is the Yankee base runner at first. There he is. 1-0 the count. Sachs with a tap to third. Leyes will go to first. Out there as Espinosa crosses the plate. 2-0 Yankees. So that's a run batted in for Sachs. His 25th of the year.
And Espinosa just showed on 2 moves he made in that series that you don't have to have outstanding speed to be a good base runner. Going first to third on a perfectly executed cutoff, and then getting a good walking lead where Leyes had no play at home.
So the Yankees have 2 runs home, 2 men in scoring position now with 2 outs, and a big at bat for Don Mattingly. He takes ball 1. Guerin's at third, and Pat Kelly now at second base. Mattingly popped out his first time. Well, this would be a big base hit for the Yankees. And a roller to the right side. That's a tough play. Nobody's going to make it. Guerin scores. Here comes Kelly in to score. And it's a 4-0 ball game. Mattingly rolled it to the right side, and Bush couldn't come up with it. Deflected enough so that nobody could make the play, and the Yankees score 2 more runs to make it 4-0.
It wasn't hit hard, but it was placed perfectly. Randy Bush, ordinarily a right fielder, deflects it so Knobloch can't get it, and more good aggressive base running by the Yankees. This time it's Pat Kelly.
Fastball to Roberto Kelly inside, ball 1. So the Yankees make it a 4-run second. Mattingly with 27 runs batted in. Swing and a miss. And the count is now 1-1. Or, well, they posted an error.
Are they dead?
They have posted an error on the scoreboard. Foul ball off Harper, and down he goes.
So I got
it's 1 and 2.
I got to scratch off 2 RBIs if I gave it Don Mattingly.
Yeah, me too. That's why I said he has
that was a lot tough.
7 RBIs now, and apparently they're going to rule out an error, and he will not get the runs batted in.
That was a lot tougher play than the play that Sachs had on Gladden when he led off the ball game. Ooh.
Yeah, taking a look at Harper now.
Dick Martin, the trainer, out with all his equipment. They hit him on the throwing shoulder, did it?
Bush at first.
I don't know. That was a tough play for Bush. Bush is not, you know, if you say, if Herbeck's there, who is one of the 3 best defensive first basemen in the American League, Mattingly ranked first, it's okay, but this is Randy Bush. I mean, you cannot compare him infrequently. That's got to be a base hit to Mattingly. And I'm not usually that charitable.
There's a drive deep to left. Gladden back, and it's going to go. Home run for Roberto Kelly. On a 1-2 pitch, Kelly hits it out. His 8th home run of the year, and the Yankees make it a 6-run inning. Kelly jumped on the 1-2 pitch. The 71st home run the Yankees have hit.
And the 12th home run that Alan Anderson has given up this year. He has not yet pitched 90 innings.
Here's Moss taking one too high, ball 1.
It's interesting when you start focusing and waiting longer, as Kelly has been doing the last few ball games, trying to hit the opposite way. You wait a little bit longer, and the bat speed gets quicker, and he tried to get something inside, and he uncoiled in a hurry.
There's a strike. It's 1-1. Kelly's 2nd home run against the Twins. He hit one off Tampany up in the Metrodome on the 11th. 1 ball, 1 strike to count to Moss. This one fouled back.
Usually we see these things in the 9th inning here in Yankee Stadium. With this year's Yankee edition.
So Roberto Kelly with 2 hits today. Well, maybe when we saw Stump Merrill talking with him, Stump said just the right thing. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And also, Dwayne, even though Kelly has been slumping, Stump Merrill puts him in the 3rd spot. Has against left-handers recently. Remember, he started the season that way, and that was the way that Stump said, hey, look, this is one of my better players, and I can't quit on him. And you mentioned this about Tom Kelly a while ago. And he puts him in 3rd spot against a left-handed pitcher again, and it pays off.
Full count. Moss, the 9th Yankee to come to the plate in the 2nd inning. And he draws the walk. So the Yankees have batted around. Paul Abbott continues to throw in the bullpen, and Tom Kelly is on his way to the mound after Anderson.
Something that Kelly has not had to do a lot this year. This starting staff's averaging about 7 innings per outing.
But not today. Anderson, an inning and 2/3, and has been touched for a 6-run second inning. So Paul Abbott will be the new pitcher. The walk to Moss brings about the departure of Alan Anderson. This call to the bullpen brought to you by New York Telephone. We're all connected. New York Telephone. He's getting rid of an old nemesis, Alan Anderson, whom they've never beaten in 5 decisions. And Paul Abbott is the new pitcher.
Recalled from the AAA farm team, the Portland Beavers, where he was a starter, so he's got enough innings in that arm starting, enough durability so he can pitch in long relief. I don't recall him being much of a power pitcher. I recall he was a pound ball, breaking ball. Oh, is he gone?
And Moss takes off. There will be no play. The first pitch to Barfield is a ball, and Kevin Moss picks up his 2nd steal of the year. He's 2 out of 3 in that department. And the Yankees now have 3 steals in this game. So Abbott didn't pay any attention at all. Well, the Yankees get a gift with that steal. 1 ball, no strikes. Barfield got under it, and Gladden is there to catch it. And the Yankee inning comes to an end, but not before. The Yankees score 6 times, pick up 4 hits, 1 error. And at the end of 2, the Yankees 6 and the Twins nothing. Yankees have a 6-run lead at the end of 2. Alan Anderson could not get out of the 2nd inning, his shortest outing of the year. And Scott Kavanecki has a few runs with which to work as he faces the top of the Minnesota batting order. Dan Gladden, Chuck Knobloch, and then Randy Bush. 6 runs, as it turns out, just 2 of them earned because of the error given to Randy Bush.
Wonder what words of wisdom Mark Connor had for Kavanecki with a 6-0 lead. Wouldn't do poorly, just use all his pitches, keep the ball down, keep a good rhythm going, and throw as many strikes as you can, make them hit their way on.
A ball, no strikes. Kavanecki in Toronto in winning that game gave up 9 hits, walked 4, struck out 6 in 6 innings. And a strike. It's 1-1.
He threw about 100 pitches in that outing, and something that Mark Connor wants to eliminate. Mark Connor very emphatic with all his pitchers as we see Pat Kelly in. Went off the line a little bit. Mark Connor wants all of his pitchers to have some of those nice 2- and 3-pitch easy hitters instead of 5 pitches and more to each one.
He's 2-1 now to Gladden, and it keeps the pace of the game moving along, and we've mentioned many times it helps the defense behind a pitcher.
And you've got a forgiving park here. I mean, the grass is pretty high in the infield, and you've got spaciousness in the alleys in center field.
He jams him and hits one to second. We'll try it again. This time both ends, and Sachs throws him out.
Is that a replay?
Same play as in the first when Sachs tried to barehand it and saw it get away from him, go for an infield hit. This time Gladden is out 4-3.
Show you the great tail on the fastball of Kavanecki. Breaks the bat of Gladden again. This time Sachs takes it with 2 hands. Might have been hit a little harder though, not much.
Here's Knobloch. Ball 1. Knobloch hit a fly ball handled by Roberto Kelly his first time on the Wiz out of town scoreboard. See Toronto over Cleveland in the 3rd. No score Baltimore at Kansas City. 2 balls, no strikes, the count to Knobloch.
How about the kid? They were looking for their 4th and 5th starter, and Juan Guzman for Toronto gives them a shutout yesterday.
Strike.
As Cleveland scored a run in June, I mean, it's just been great. You look at them; they're averaging, I think, less than like around fewer runs per game in the last 20 games.
You know, they had that 20-inning stretch where they did not score a run. And a nice breaking ball over, and it's 2-2. Not only did they not score, but I don't think they got a man who scores third base in that stretch. 2-2 the count on Chuck Knobloch. Kamenicki missed a little low, and he did not land exactly where he wanted to land on that pitch. I'm not sure what happened.
As this Yankee starting rotation changed, Mike Witt sounds somewhat pessimistic with the elbow problem with a detached ligament. Pascual Perez is up a little bit.
Down to short. Espinosa handles this one. 2 gone. Couple ground balls to get Gladden and Knobloch to open the third. Over in the National League, on the Wiz scoreboard, Mets with an early lead in Atlanta.
First baseman.
Houston trailing the Phillies in the 4th. Cardinals and the Padres 1-0 bottom of the 1st in St. Louis. Cincinnati, Montreal, no score at Riverfront Stadium.
I still think the Mets are going to win the Eastern Division National League. They're still not pitching on all cylinders. And David Cohn's been out a little bit. Dwight Gooden has had a slump. Vile a little bit. But they're still, what, 4.5 games back, thereabouts.
Randy Bush takes a ball, no strikes. Foul out of play, so it's 1-1. Speaking of Mike Witt, well, I didn't talk to him to want to get a report. He was supposed to throw today.
Yeah, I saw him going down with a towel, and I don't know, he went behind the fence in left center field last time he threw a couple of days ago. Well, whoops.
Shot to deep right. Barfield turns, and this one's going to go. So Bush, who is charged with the error in the bottom of the 2nd, hits his first home run of the year to make it 6-1.
This guy's swing is made for this ballpark. He's a good fastball hitter, Randy Bush, and he's a pull hitter, almost a dead pull hitter. His playing time's been cut because of Shane Mack, who started out as a center fielder early this year and playing center field today.
On a 1-1 pitch.
You know, that was a changeup. It was almost that you could see the release of Kamenicki where you saw the fingers flap, almost like a palm ball effect, but he apparently didn't take enough speed off it, which again is something that Mark Connors emphasized. Jeff Johnson's got an outstanding changeup, but throwing it a little too hard, and they want him to take more off, and Kamenicki could have used a little more off that one.
Ball caught too much of the plate, and Bush hit it out to right. A big cut and a miss by Chili Davis. Strike 1. Davis flying to right his first time. So it's 6-1. There's some peer pressure going on in right field.
Throw it back.
Yep, throw it back. Nothing doing yet.
One lonely voice is saying, nuts to you, nuts to you.
1 strike to count on Chili Davis. One and one. And Harper's on deck. Kamenicki trying to get Davis to end the top of the 3rd. He picks up the strike zone there. Dropped it over. A ball and 2 strikes. A big part of that 15-game winning streak and a big part of the entire successful season the Twins have had so far. Chili Davis. He chased one that time and is out on strikes. First strikeout for Kamenicki. 1 run. Coming on the home run by Bush. Nobody left. Bottom of the 3rd coming. Yankees 6 and Minnesota 1. Tickets for Yankee home games on sale at the Yankee Stadium ticket office. Saturday 9 to 5, Sunday 10 to 5. well as weekdays 9 to 5. We'll give you a little more information in a moment as Hensley Mullins fouls one back. The charge tickets, call Ticketmaster 307-7171, and be sure and remember Payday Yankee Sunglasses Day coming up Saturday, July 6th, when the Yankees meet the Orioles at 1:30. A ball and a strike to count on Mullins.
Talked about the bottom end of the Yankee lineup contributing. And boy, did they in the second. 3 base hits and a hit batsman. All 4 came on to score. Mullins, Espinosa, Guerin, and Pat Kelly.
2-1 to count on Mullins. Hensley started that with his 1-out single. This is out of play. 2 strikes to count.
You know, you were talking earlier about different hitting instructors and mentioning Terry Crowley. And that's one thing, you know, Frank Howard was basically a pull hitter when he first came up. He hit the ball opposite field on occasion, and then he's got to show Hensley Mullins how to hit the opposite way. I like to see Hensley pull the ball a little bit more because they've been burying him inside.
This one drifting toward the stands and out of play. Elias and Gladden over there.
We've seen so many of the Yankee right-handed hitters, and it goes back to last year. And Frank very aware of this, where pitchers hang curveballs, hang forkballs, hang sliders, or a mediocre fastball inside part of the plate, and they jam themselves. They don't take advantage of their power field enough. And if you keep trying to serve everything the other way, yeah, occasionally you're going to hit the ball hard the opposite way. But the power field from right-hander, where you generate the most power, is your strong field, left field.
You're talking about making periodic adjustments.
Oh, yeah. And you can't keep letting a guy bury inside. You keep trying to serve it to right field weakly.
And he takes this one into center field, dropping it in front of Shane Mack. So Mullins has his second hit. He's 2 for 2. Working on a perfect day on his birthday.
And there was an example. 2 strikes, he's protecting the plate. He got to pitch up and in, but he just serves it out and fights it off. But there are situations up until 2 strike. A strong guy like Hensley should be saying, I dare you to throw me inside. Get him to turn it around on you.
Here's Espinosa. He got his base hit just over the infield in the second inning. The pitch is too low, ball 1.
Remember, against the left-hander, with Espinosa up in the second, Stump Merrill started Mullins.
Yankees facing Paul Abbott now in relief of Alan Anderson. Mullins with that lead. And down to third, Elias. Down to second, 1, and to first, a double play. So the Yankees this time do not start the runner, and Espinosa bounces into 2. Well, he's really climbing the ladder down there at third base for that chopper.
You think the adrenaline rush is getting to Elias? I mean, he's got about 50 passes here today with all his family, friends, the Yonkers area. He got that ball. I thought he was going to throw it in the right field.
Here's Guerin looking at a strike. Twins have been very pleased with the development of Elias.
Greg Nettles.
That quickness.
Yeah, Greg Nettles was a personal favorite of his.
And Guerin chases one. Guerin got a big base hit in the second inning, driving home a run. Yankees scored 6 times, sent 10 men to the plate in the second. One ball, 2 strikes. Abbott, 23 years old, out of California. He made 7 starts last year for the Twins and was 0-5 with a .597 earned run average.
Yep.
And Guerin tried to check, but he chased it. He's out on strikes to retire the side. No runs, 1 hit, nobody left. At the end of 3, it's a 6-1 ball game, Yankees.
You're watching MSG Network, the best in the game.
Welcome back to Yankee Stadium, where the Yankees lead the Minnesota Twins by the score of 6-1. I'm Al Trautwig, along with a man I haven't thought about once for the past 2 weeks, Tony Kubek. Tony, so nice to be back with you once again.
You've been gone. Yeah.
A pretty good day for Scott Kamenicki, however, as it's pretty obvious that the Yankees without me simply couldn't function. diving stab attempted by Pat Kelly, and it's rocked down the line by Brian Harper, who makes the turn and will lumber his way into second base. Leadoff double turned in for the Minnesota Twins, and Brian Harper.
Is Harper a great example of using the entire field? Lines out to second, then he hooks one in the left field corner for a double. That's why he's a high average hitter.
He's a great example of just hanging in there. You know, his
boy.
career has almost had 2 careers put in. Had a restart completely in the minor leagues after dabbling with Pittsburgh and Detroit.
Well, he had no position. They said he couldn't catch, and then finally...
But he wasn't hitting up near the level he was now. I mean, you know, he was a 240, 250 hitter. Now suddenly the Twins expect him to hit 300. That'll bring up Gene Larkin. You know, we talked about Scott Leyes from Mamaroneck and Yonkers. Well, Gene, of course, from Astoria, Chaminade High School and Columbia, following Yankee pitching coach Mark Connor to a certain degree in terms of career paths.
He broke all the Iron Horse Lou Gehrig's records in college, didn't he? Of course, he went the full 4 years. I don't think Gehrig did.
He's all right. He's hitting his heel, Bobby.
You always fear when that catcher's down at second base that they're going to give location. So it's very important that Guerin doesn't move too quickly behind the plate. Look at how long he's waiting. Now he slides out.
Larkin goes for the low heater and sends it out to Hensley Mullins. 1 away. Runner holds at second. Tony, I thought the last inning was an important moment for Kamenicki. Not of major importance, but he gives up the home run to Bush and then comes right back and strikes out the next hitter for the 3rd out. That was Chili Davis, who's hitting the ball very well.
Well, I think he's not really a young pitcher. He's had a lot of experience. He's 27 years old. It's very important that a catcher that doesn't say to a guy like this, hey, just throw strikes. You still have to continue to throw quality strikes so you can stay in some kind of groove in case they do get a rally going.
Shane Mack, who showed us a powerful arm from the right field corner last night. Center field today. Reached on a fielder's choice his first time up, and it's 1 ball and no strikes. Tony, how is it that a pitcher who's 27 is at a point where the Yankees finally feel that he might have it?
Well, the rap against Kamenicki was never his stuff. He throws harder at times than either Jeff Johnson or Wade Taylor. The rap was he couldn't control his emotions. And some said he didn't have enough inside. And he got a late start. Remember, he went to Michigan and played with a pretty good team. Chris Sabo and Jerry Larkin played in Omaha. But it's a matter of maturity, I think. Not command of his pitches as much as command of himself on the mound.
It's saying an awful lot for patience if Kamenicki was to deliver finally at the age of 27. Got an interesting note. You know, you compare Kamenicki, you know, only his first year, only his 2nd start. He's only a couple of days different than Brett Saberhagen, who's got more than 100 victories in his career.
2 Cy Young awards under his belt already.
1 ball and 2 strikes with an out.
You can see how sneaky fast Kamenicki is, and that little tail at the end. He was sitting on a fastball, it appeared, and the ball's right by him. Kamenicki, when he was called up, Chuck Carey was sent down. Carey pitched yesterday. Allowed 3 runs and 3 base hits, back-to-back home runs, but he pitched 7 innings, a little over 100 pitches. Threw the ball fairly well, they said, although his command and location was not there.
Outside 2-2. Tony, by the way, you know, you made fun of the pink hats.
I didn't, no, I just...
You said it was an ugly color. I mean, how does it feel to be a man in the minority? Here are about 30,000 people, maybe more, who
These are freebies.
Yeah, but
they got it for nothing.
Yeah, but they're wearing them. I mean, this is an endorsement of this being one of the hot colors in America today, and there you are being contrary.
I want to see him walk the streets in New York with those hats on.
They will. This neon stuff is big.
Well, Neon Dion is now in AAA ball. That's where those hats belong. Nah, they're cute. Shocking pink. I love it. I used to have a sport coat just like that.
I await its return. 2 balls and 2 strikes. 1 out. We're in the top of the 4th. Yankees leading 6-1. Well, Tony, when you're away for just a few days, you come back and so many things change, and they change so rapidly for status of players with the Yankees, who is hurt. The one thing you wonder is how this team is going to rebound itself. Fouled off. When one of the big things you come back and find is that Don Mattingly's back is in the news again. It sort of casts a pall over things, don't you think?
Well, Don has been very adamant in his statement since then that it was blown out of proportion, that they were just some normal stiffness. He said, in fact, it might have been stiffness that every player experiences, you know, with or without congenital background. And he said it just was time to back off a little bit. He'd been playing a lot. And he insists it does not affect his play on the field.
Fouled off again. A prolonged at bat by Shane Mack. Wayne Terwilliger, 66 years old, pacing down the first baseline. And when you talk about oldest coaches in the majors, he's second to only Jimmy Reese, out for the California Angels. Now, Jimmy was, I think, in the hospital a little bit. Is he okay?
Yeah, he's okay. In fact, he's been coming out to the ballpark. And as you all know, Jimmy Reese with the Angels is a roommate of Babe Ruth's bags, his luggage.
Those are coaches and not managers in the major leagues right now. Inside, and Shane Mack waits and is rewarded with the walk. First walk issued by Kamenicki, and it comes with one out. Now runners at second and first.
Tom Kelly's father played professional baseball. In fact, Tom's dad, Joe, is a left-handed pitcher in the Giants organization, so a lot of what you think are hunches or off the seat of his pants are ingrained in his blood as far as moves that Kelly makes.
Well, here Tom Kelly looks like a genius again. Team sitting on top of the American League West. There were times in the past couple of years when there were rumblings that his time might be finished with this team. It just shows you how strange it is. I mean, a good manager is a good manager.
You got it. But did you notice that the Twins operate a little differently than the Yankees used to? They wanted to maintain continuity, and even though he had a couple of bad years after the World Championship years, he's still there.
And there are a lot of players on this field and in that dugout who have been with this organization for a long time. There's a lot of continuity. At down Main Street, no balls and 2 strikes to Scott Leyes. Now the Twins have been in first place 9 days since they won their World Championship in 1987. 7 of those have come this year and right now. So this is their most enjoyable moment since the World Series victory in '87.
4-game lead over the Oakland Athletics.
And their success comes as the A's struggle. The A's withstood, it seemed, every charge that came their way, and now suddenly they've run out of answers.
The A's were averaging so many runs per ball game while their pitching was struggling. Good trip to the mound by Bob Guerin. No balls, 2 strikes with 2 on. They want to make certain where they're going, what they want to do with Leyes. Not make a mistake in what could be a critical situation. Hey, a big base hit, extra bases now. The Twins are right back in the ball game. So Guerin alertly pops out to talk to Kamenicki.
Good day for Bob Guerin. He's catching a good pitcher and a good performance. He's got a single and an RBI. That pitch outside. Dwayne told you earlier was Bob's first hit at the stadium since April. Hard to believe. And this comes at a time when his personal life is, you know, really great. Baby boy. And he just can't find the swing. But he's got a hit and a run batted in today. The 1-2 pitch. In there.
What a nice job of setting it up. They threw a slider down and away off the plate. And the very next, which was a ball, the pitch before this, the very thing that pops into that hitter's mind, you can see the reaction of Leyes. The left shoulder's pointing, said, okay, they went low and away. They're going to come up and in, and they went fastball right on the outer edge. Great pitch selection and execution by Kamenicki.
That'll bring up shortstop Greg Gagne, who flied out to right field his first time up. Still runners at second and first now with 2 away. That's a strike and a good-looking breaking ball. So, Tony, when the Yankees were riding their 12 out of 15 crest a couple of weeks ago, you sat there and said, you know, there will be other bad times this season. It seems like such an obvious comment, but now here are the Yankees again. Now you just wonder
on the road.
When does the next good streak begin? You wonder. Wade Taylor pitches well last night. Here's Kamenicki getting some offense and pitching well too. High fly ball out to left field. Hensley Mullins, who's had a couple of hits today, pulls in the 3rd out. And Kamenecki, who allows runners to second and first, pitches his way out of it with a strikeout and a fly ball. Back to the stadium in a moment where the Yankees lead by 5.
You're the top, you're the Coliseum, you're the top, you're the Louvre Museum, you're the best in beer, that fact is clear, each drop, you're number 1, second to none, you're the top.
Heineken, America's #1 imported beer. Amstel Light, America's #1 imported light
You're
beer.
a cut above, the taste we love, each drop, you're the best of both worlds, you're the tops.
I'd keep my job, but I'd hire somebody to do it for me.
I'd trade the BMT for a BMW.
I'd still fight fires, but only on my barbecue.
I'd be a well-fed artist instead of a starving one.
I'd buy some used furniture at Sotheby's.
Twice a week, someone could win millions of dollars.
I'd finally put my money where my mouth is.
New York Lotto. All you need is $1 and a dream.
New York Yankee baseball on MSG, brought to you in part by Nobody Beats the Wiz Home Entertainment Centers for everything in home electronics, music, and movies. Nobody, not even Tony Kubek, beats the Wiz. Back at the bottom of the 4th inning, Yankees leading at 6-1. Here's Pat Kelly, who's already seen strike 1 sail by. Now there's strike 2. Paul Abbott on the mound in relief of Alan Anderson, who had gone 5-0 against the Yankees in his career. He left after 1 2/3 after surrendering 6 runs. Kelly, who was hit or grazed, shall we say, in Frank Crosetti style, his first time up, takes another one.
And what will seem over the scheme of things like an insignificant at bat, but there were 2 outs, no balls, 2 strikes, and he somehow got on base when he got hit, and then the fireworks started.
Yankees sent 10 men to the plate back in the 2nd inning and rocked Alan Anderson and knocked him out.
And you can bet that pitch they just threw to Kelly underneath his chin was a little warning sign. Hey, look, 0-2, you're leaning out over the plate, diving into the ball. You want to do it? We're going to move you back a little bit farther and a little bit harder.
High, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Californian Paul Abbott, another Californian in Scott Erickson tomorrow night. And Pat Kelly drops one in front of Dan Gladden. And the Yankees have another leadoff man on.
I do believe that Dan Gladden lost that ball in the pink hats.
if it's not the white shirts, it's the pink hats. Gladden, who always looks like he played for Led Zeppelin in the morning and for the Twins at night.
Dan Morrison, the third base umpire, out there signaling the safe sign.
No doubt about it, was a hit, the 8th in the game for the Yankees.
We got to see Pat Kelly's speed, and maybe Stump will start him going. He comes up with a reputation of being a potential 30 stolen base guy, and with Sachs up there, now 1 ball, no strikes, and right-hander on the mound, off-speed pitches. He's got to be put in motion, I think.
Sachs singled his first time up, was picked off, and the runner goes. The throw will be late, and Pat Kelly's in there.
One of the elements we have not seen thus far from Pat Kelly. But he's got it, and it's not too bad an idea to have a guy in the 9th slot with that speed to complete the speed cycle with your leadoff hitter, Sachs.
Only the 2nd stolen base for the young Pennsylvanian, back from the bruised wrist. The throw by Harper was wide. And the Yankees, with nobody out, have a man in scoring position. Now, when this game started, Alan Anderson looked like he'd have the greatest kickoff day ever. He got Sachs, and then he had Kelly, and only a bad throw allowed Roberto to slide in safely to second.
Well, I got the feeling that all that happened in the first inning was a possibility that the Twins had the signs of the Yankees, and they knew when to throw over.
And a strike on 3-0. It's 3-1.
Not only in scoring position, as you indicated, for Sachs, but Sachs hit so many ground balls, he's a good double play possibility, which is removed with the stolen base. Stuff like this will help Sachs average, having speed in the 9th spot.
Fouled off. Something else that's happening today, Tony, and I guess Stump's got a knock on wood as he's got Kamenecki pitching so well. The bullpen hasn't seen any activity, a bullpen that's been, as we've talked about so many times, the most worked bullpen in the American League. Things are quiet out there for now, and the Yankees have a big 5-run cushion. Steve Sachs could add to it. He watches it high, and the Yankees have 2 base runners on with nobody out, and that brings up Don Mattingly.
And you just saw Pat Kelly disturbing Paul Abbott. With all his jockeying and the good walking lead, Abbott and Harper, I believe the catcher, are thinking more about Kelly at second base and the possible stealing third than the hitter.
A couple of weak swings for Don Mattingly in his first 2 times at bat. One was an opposite field fly ball. Just barely got over shortstop.
Watch Kelly with Abbott pitching the sacks. Abbott's worried about him, I think, more, and he throws the ball out of the strike zone way too high.
Well, he lost that pitch by far, and now he's got to worry about 2 base runners. Mattingly, who's hitting about 300 over his last 16 games. His average stands overall at 293. Missed on a chance at 2 RBIs when his slow roller was given as an error. Bounces one to short. The Twins look to turn it and do. They'll put a runner at third with 2 quick outs for Paul Abbott and the Twins. Not a great day at the plate for Mattingly, is it, Tony?
Looks like a case of Mattingly going after Abbott's pitch. A sinker ball down and away. Pitch that you can almost bet that once he started swinging, he wished he'd have taken it and waited for a pitch up in the strike zone or inner part of the plate to drive a little bit better.
Here's Roberto Kelly, who hit his 8th home run of the season last time up into the sea of pink in left field. He's got a runner at third and Pat Kelly. Got Tom Kelly in the dugout. And the Yankees almost thought about drafting Mike Kelly from Arizona State. Speaking of draft picks, the Yankees announced the signing of a slew of picks, which for the most part they've assigned into their minor league system, but still no word on Brian Taylor. I think that's going to be an expensive proposition.
Well, that's one of the big things they consider when you draft a guy #1, and that's signability. And Brian Taylor on a Beaufort, North Carolina, did not seem to be any indication that he was going to go on to college. But he could choose to sit out a year if he doesn't get what he wants.
And then the Yankees would be faced with the same situation the Red Sox faced with Frank Rodriguez.
He got something in just hours before the draft, didn't he?
2 balls and 2 strikes to Roberto Kelly. He went through a really tough stretch coming into today's game. 3 for his last 33. A single and a home run today. Fouled off again. Speaking of draft picks and #1 in signability, what about Eric Lindros saying no to the Quebec Nordiques? A lot of hot opinions about whether an 18-year-old should be saying the things he's saying.
Yeah, but what if they got a guy coaching the caliber of Wayne Gretzky? Some people think that.
Line shot into the gap. It'll score a run. And Roberto Kelly's 3 for 3. The Yankees have a 7-1 lead.
He spread them out, too, hasn't he? Center field, home run in left field, and now he shoots one out to right.
They talk about making adjustments.
Hit a pretty good breaking ball. Might have been up more than Abbott wanted it, but still it was right at the outside edge and waiting just that split second longer, which is what Frank Howard's been preaching. Oh, boy, it fell.
Kevin Moss has really tested the upper limits of Yankee Stadium with 2 foul balls today, but he is still hitless in his last 10 at-bats.
Yeah, but those feel so good when your bat is so correct, even though he's so far out in front as he was earlier and now this one.
I mean, it looks like a home run. The big swing, he watches it, the fans stand up.
There goes Kelly.
Kelly's on his way. The throw from Harper is into center field, and Kelly's going to scamper to third. Busy day on the base paths for Roberto Kelly. It's the second time that Kelly has headed to second where an errant throw has allowed him to advance. Brian Harper's not happy with himself.
Stolen base error on Harper. Tomorrow on our MSG telecast, catching Erickson will be going for his 12th. We'll see Junior Ortiz, who usually catches Erickson, goes back to last year, and he throws well, and most people feel he's a better defensive catcher, blocking pitches, and also with the glove work.
Ooh, Moss thought about it. 1 ball and 2 strikes. That throw by Harper didn't miss Roberto Kelly's head by much, did it?
He asked rhetorically.
And I knew I wasn't going to get an answer. Jesse Barfield on deck. 1 and 2 to Kevin Moss. 2 outs here in the 4th. And that'll do it for the Yankees in the inning. They get a run as Pat Kelly is brought around on the Roberto Kelly single. That's as much as they'll get. 7-1 Yankees. Times quote of the week. It comes as part of the Times coverage of Banky Sasser's troubles of throwing the ball back to the mound. He said, quote, "Now I'm just trying to hit a target like the T on the S on the uniform shirt." Of course, T and the S in Mets. But Tony, as I said to you a moment ago, if he gets traded to a team that doesn't have a T and an S in the uniform, he's in big trouble.
See what he did to the PR director of the Mets the other day, Jay Horowitz?
No.
Jay Horowitz was, I'll tell you after this. Jay Horowitz was jogging, and part of the program for Mackey is to throw a football like Tom House people do, and they do in San Diego.
Right. Pitch to Gladden by Kamenicki is a ball 2-0.
Mackey was throwing his football as part of the mechanical thing of learning how to throw the ball right. And Jay Horowitz was jogging, and he said, "Jay, go out down and out for me." And Jay said, "Okay." He threw it, and he broke his finger.
Well, now, if Jay would simply pitch for the Mets when Mackey was behind the plate, we might have something. It's one of the most,
you can hit a moving target.
It's one of the most celebrated mental blocks in baseball, isn't it? 2-1 pitch, right down the middle, 2-2. Of course, here at the stadium, that's a T and an S that Mackey would want to avoid. Gladden bounces one to Sachs. Plays the high hop over to Moss. 1 out.
Second baseman.
That is not a new problem. Catchers having difficulty throwing back to the pitcher. Made Dale Murphy an all-star back-to-back MVP because he couldn't throw the ball back to the pitcher. Dale Murphy may go in the Hall of Fame someday.
Here's Chuck Knobloch hitting .285. It's a tough strikeout. But Tony, is Knobloch translatable in Polish? It sounds like,
it's a German name, isn't it? Knobloch?
It could be.
Polish?
It sounds like, sausages or something. I thought you'd have a good story there.
I don't know.
No? No balls and a strike. As Scott Kamenicki works in the top of the 5th. Line shot right at Barfield. He plays the hop in the belly. And a 1-out single for the Twins.
Of course, if Knobloch was out there right now with his lederhosen on and running around the bases, then we'd have a story.
Randy Bush.
Relaxing out there. Are Junior Ortiz's eyes open?
That's Chica Escuela. So remember Chica Escuela? Baseball been very, very good to me. Boy, he's got some beauty, Junior. Somewhere. I think he's retired.
He's out there somewhere today.
He can catch.
Kamenicki's having trouble getting that first pitch, or the second pitch for that matter lately, over for a strike. 1-0 to Randy Bush. Tough day in the field for Bush, but he did have the Twins' only run with a home run his first of the year. A high fly ball into the cloudy Bronx sky. Espinosa waves off Pat Kelly and pulls it in 2 away.
Espy's hoggish on those, isn't he?
Oh, get away from me, Pat. I got
he goes in front of Sachs, and he moves him off, and out of respect to his great hand, they usually move for him.
2 outs now, and that brings up Chili Davis, who's 0 for 2.
You should have seen Espy up in Toronto after he'd been benched a couple of days, and he was very upset and very outspokenly saying that Stump was wrong, and he kept telling the media, "Go talk to Stump about it." He got back in there in Toronto, and I've never seen a guy with more life and more pep. You could hear his voice all the way up to our broadcaster, exhorting the young pitchers, and it's really a good thing to see.
Well, second time this season that's happened. Yeah. Remember when Stump benched him, and there was, talk from Espy, if I can't play here, well, then trade me.
Well, Stump uses the expression that sometimes certain people need a wake-up call.
Well, this could be one. He hit a home run last night.
The only thing that managers got these days, at times, is the power of the lineup card. Don't play, guys.
Ball gets away, bouncing in front of Guerin, and the runner will advance, and maybe more with a big turn, and Guerin finally is there to slow down Chuck Knobloch. Espy's got a single and a run scored today. How did Espinosa look at third base, Tony?
Oh, I think he can play in the infield position, put him in. I mean, he's got good hands. He probably, defensively, may be better at third because you don't have to have quite the speed. You know, he's got the hand quickness. He's got the throwing arm. I thought he looked very good. Pass ball, wild pitch. Wild pitch.
Wild pitch. Charge to Scott Kamenicki. It's 1 ball and no strikes with 2 outs. A runner at second. Chili Davis at the plate. Davis skies one out to Jesse Barfield on the fringe of the track, and glasses are down. He pulls it in. Kamenicki gets out of the inning. It's still 7-1 Yankees. We'll get back to the Bronx in a moment.
Mission: create the ultimate automobile polish. Establish the new definition of shine, the new standard for protection. Mission accomplished. New liquid crystal, the most technologically advanced automobile polish ever made. New liquid crystal was applied to this badly oxidized 1982 Blazer. With no rubbing, no buffing, its showroom shine is instantly restored. After polishing with new liquid crystal, this car was put through a car wash 104 times, 2 years worth of car washings, and water still beads. New liquid crystal will give your car unequaled protection and an extraordinary deep gloss shine nothing on the street can beat. Try liquid crystal. If you don't agree that it shines and protects better than any car wax you've ever used, we'll send you your money back. New liquid crystal automobile polish. Quite simply, the best shine and protection money can buy.
What are Toyota dealers doing now? Hitting your hot button on Tercel and Corolla. Tercel, the lowest priced two-door sedan in America. Corolla, Toyota's value leader. Now add up Corolla's option and factory-to-dealer incentive savings. Plus, their special financing, dealer discounts, lease deals, and immediate delivery. And more reliable Corollas and economical Tercels than ever. See your Toyota dealer now. He's hitting your hot buttons.
Hi, everybody. During this break in Yankee
and he said the reason was we got free tickets to Giants games at the Polo Grounds. And his dad roomed in the D-League. His father played with a catcher, Ray Cat, who came up to the Giants as a catcher. He said he left us tickets. He said, so I became a Giants fan. And those freebies. It was a league that St. Cloud is a D-League. You fans don't, you hear of A baseball now. That was the old Northern League. Henry Aaron came through that league, and a lot of great players. A lot of long bus rides. Off-speed pitch. Pat Kelly goes out Shane Mack. A nice, easy, and very smooth low-pitch inning for Scott Kamenicki. 3 up, 3 down. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th. 7-1 Yankees.
The New York Knicks want you to have a chance to win a 1991 Jeep Wrangler in the Tri-State Jeep and Eagle Drive to the Draft contest. To enter, send in a postcard with the top 13 players in the correct order you believe will be selected in the NBA Draft on June 26th, along with your name, address, and phone number to Jeep and Eagle Drive to the Draft. P.O. Box JAF 3210, New York, New York 10116. The contestant with the most correct choices wins the car. There's only one Jeep, and it's only at your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealer.
Your baby, 18.
Take your baby out for some fun.
53.
Take your baby to all the best places.
94.
Fill it up, Ultra 94.
When your car's your baby, it deserves a gasoline as special as Sunoco Ultra 94. Because only Ultra gives you the highest octane under the sun with great detergency.
28.
Let your baby flex his muscles now and then.
94, Ultra 94.
Well, here's what you've been waiting for, Dwayne. The Budweiser home run inning. Today's contestant in the Budweiser home run inning is Joseph Phillips of Taylor, Pennsylvania. And just for being picked, you win 2 tickets to a Yankee game and are eligible for one of 2 grand prizes to a Yankees away game in Toronto. You can see the Sky Dome. The Yankees hit a home run during the Budweiser home run inning. You could win a Sharp VCR. And if it's a grand slam, you'll also win a Sharp TV. Bottom of the 6th, Paul Abbott to Bob Guerin, and then Pat Kelly and Steve Sachs. Got a bunch of birthdays around. We talked about Hensley Mullins earlier. And happy birthday to Hensley on his 24th. Jeff Idelson, he's got a birthday. He's the PR director. Friend Joe Perillo in New Jersey, he's got a birthday somewhere around this date. Over the top of the head, a breaking ball, 1-1.
That one just got away from Abbott, who made some very good pitches against the Yankees in the 5th inning.
Jeff Idelson.
There's Jeff. Happy birthday, Jeff.
We've got a cameraman. Cameraman here who's been around Yankee Stadium for many years. One of the great Yankee fans and a friend to all of us. Dulio. Happy birthday, Dulio. Watch the game, Dulio. You're going to miss a big shot. 2 balls, 1 strike to Bob Guerin. He singled in the 2nd in that 6-run Yankee 2nd. He's also struck out off-speed pitch. It appears that Paul Abbott throws either a palm ball and a forkball. 2 different off-speed pitches.
He threw a good pitch to Mattingly in the 4th inning when Mattingly grounded into the double play.
That looked like a forkball to that kind of action. Something off-speed, fastball. Guerin swings right through it. 1 out in the bottom of the 6th. 4th strikeout now for Paul Abbott. Jeff Idelson, if you ever...
Jeff's still excited about his birthday.
You ever need some information regarding the Yankees, and you're like we are, members of the media, and you want something in depth, just peek in his office and he'll dig it out for you, or one of his assistants will. Pat Kelly hit by a pitch, scored in the 2nd. That was on an 0-2 count. And he also singled, stole a base, and scored in the 4th. 1 ball pitch, popped up in the center of the diamond. Greg Gagnon. Got it, 2 down. Steve Sachs up now with 2 outs. Been on base a couple of times with a single. And walking the ground out. He's checking with Artie Richmond to see if everything's okay. Checking with his folks to see if
it really is his birthday.
And to see if everything we said about him was positive. Fastball strike to Sachs in the 7-1 ball game. The Yankees with 6 in the 2nd. The Twins on Bush's home run come up with a run. They're only running the 3rd, and the Yankees tack on another in the 4th. 1-1.
Well, the Yankees are trying to snap a 3-game losing streak. Blue Jays have won 4 in a row.
2-1. Congratulations to the Yankee wives for tremendous work to help feed the hungry in the area. A lot of time and effort. Two and 2 with 2 down. Broken back single to center field by Sachs. So he's got a couple of base hits in this ball game, and the average keeps mounting. If he isn't at 280 now, he's sure sneaking up on it quickly.
2 for 3 today. Well, Abbott made some great pitches with a lot of action down, but this one kind of hovered up there, and Sachs took advantage of it. Picks up his 2nd hit of the day.
Well, he started the day at 274, so if he isn't at 280, he's right around it. 2 outs, 1 on for Mattingly. On the first pitch as the sun pops out, Shane Mack's got it. Sachs left stranded, 3rd in the ballgame after 6. 7-1 Yankees. Go get him, Jeff.
Kelly rocks one past Eugene. The slow start, round 3rd. There'll be a play at the plate. Safe.
Steve Sachs, you're watching MSG Network, the best in the game.
The Yankees have a 7-1 lead moving into the 7th inning, and on the Budweiser game recap, a base hit by Bob Guerin started the scoring. Sachs got another run home, and then Mattingly hit the ball in which Bush was charged in error. Roberto Kelly got into the act with a home run. Here's Scott Leyes chasing the first pitch, could not lay off for a strike, and Bush came back to hit the home run, and Roberto Kelly another run batted in with a single in the 4th inning. The Yankees have a 7-1 lead. They've out-hit Minnesota 10-5. 2 quick strikes here as Kaminecki took a little something off that slurve. Kaminecki struck out 2 and walked 1. Back to the mound. And the toss to Moss. He had Leyes. He appeared to be looking for something inside, although that goes back to the thing we talked about earlier. At times he'll start to open up a little quickly.
I think
the ball right back to the mound.
I think it's interesting, Dwayne, that now that Stump Merrill has these 3 rookies back to back to back, and tomorrow it's Jeff Johnson, that all 3 have met times. And their 2nd or 3rd time around, they seem to have better and better control of their off-speed pitches. Change speeds on the curveball and the straight change. We're seeing more and more of that now instead of just hard stuff.
He throws one by Gagne to start him. Gagne 0 for 2, a couple of fly balls, 1 to right and 1 to left field.
I mean, it all starts off the fastball. All 3 have good, lively fastballs. It's sometimes overpowering, but unless you can mix in the off-speed stuff, you're going to have trouble.
A ball and a strike, and Kaminecki, who's 27 years old, said himself, going back to what you were referring to an inning ago about the pitching coaches down below, that he probably would have been in the big league two years ago if he'd listened to Monk Meyer. This one caught Guerin's mask, and it counts a ball and 2 strikes. But here he is, 27, making his 2nd start in the big leagues and pitching well.
And you've always got to remember, too, that you also have to remember that these 3 kids came off winning teams. And I don't care if it is only the minor leagues. Along the way the last couple of years, they're used to winning. And sometimes you get enough kids like this, and they can overcome the negativism of some of the veterans on a ball club.
This is out of play, holding the count of the ball, 2 strikes. Gladden will be next.
Interesting to see, and with 3 kid pitchers and maybe more to come, what the test of time will do to them after hitters see them and the pressures build up from the major league level.
This one foul. Gagne waiting and protecting. So the count is still 1-2. Well, there's still some arms at the AAA level, and Alan Mills tops that list as they continue to look for Mills to maybe get a little better command of his stuff. But
Rich Monteleone got the save in Chuck Carey's game yesterday.
Down and in, he missed off the plate.
At the AA level, Willie Smith, the big right-hander, was 4-0 at one time, ERA about 1, and since then he has struggled. He's now 4-4, so he is retrogressed somewhat.
A 2-2 count on Gagne. The Yankees have led all the way, trying to beat the Twins for the first time this year. They split last year right down the middle, 6-6. But so far this year, swept in Minnesota and dropping the first 2 games of this series, 0-5 against the Twins.
Now, when the Twins make those Western clubs again, the tougher division, and you may see then that left-hander out of the bullpen is very important. At least that Seattle ball club with all the left-handed hitters.
And he chases that one. Gagne, the 3rd strikeout posted by Kaminecki. And the 2nd out here in the 7th. Tonight at 11:30, a reminder to join Al Trautwig and his guest Keith Hernandez on Sports Forum. Right here on MSG Network, the best in the game. 2 outs, bases empty. Kirby Puckett has the day off, so Puckett with a 10-game hitting streak reserves that on the bench. This is the first day he's had off since they've hit this hot stretch. Gladden sends one back into center. Kelly drifting to his left. A lot of room, and he makes the catch to retire the side. A 1-2-3 inning. We're headed into the bottom of the 7th. 7-1 Yankees. Yankees wrap up the series with the Twins tomorrow night at 7:30 and hit the road, taking them to Boston and Milwaukee. And the next Yankee homestand starts on Monday, July the 1st, with the Indians in for 3 on the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, and the Orioles in from the 4th through the 7th. Saturday the 6th, payday presents Yankees Sunglasses Day, and Sunday the 7th, it's WABC Talk Radio 77 Yankee Sports Bag Day. For ticket information, 293-6000. Bottom of the 7th, and Roberto Kelly leads off and drops one into right. That's going to be a base hit. Roberto Kelly is on again on the first pitch here in the bottom of the 7th, and Roberto is 4 for 4.
Looks like Wee Willie Keeler did, doesn't he? Looks like wherever he wants to hit the ball, he just places it right out in that area.
Well, he singled to center in the first, hit the home run to left in the 2nd inning. Base hit, driving in a run in the 4th into right center field. Drops one into right here in the 7th inning. So he has his first 4-hit game of the year, 5th of his career. And here's Kevin Moss taking a ball.
Put that shift right back on for Kevin Moss. Daring him to try and hit the ball through the left side.
And this one is down. We'll take a look at the shift on the infield. Gagne on the first base side of second base.
I mean, they're giving him a bunt right there if he wants it. Of course, you're ahead by 6, but sometimes that's not enough against a team like this, leading the league in hitting. They're going to give it to you. Maybe you should take it once in a while. So what the heck?
Abbott can't throw a strike. 3-0. Terry Leach is throwing in the bullpen. You'll recall him from his days with the Mets.
In one season where he had a 10-game winning streak.
Yeah, this guy just doesn't lose in the first couple months of the season. There's ball 4. So Moss is aboard. The first 2 men are on. Kevin's second walk today. He has 47 for the year. Jesse Barfield. Abbott took over in the 2nd inning when the Yankees chased Alan Anderson, sending 10 men to the plate. So Barfield with the base runners at first and second, and nobody out. Tom Kelly looking on. Strike 1. Abbott has 5 strikeouts, along with allowing 5 hits and a run.
Pitches seem to be getting up a little bit in the strike zone. On that last pitch to Barfield was up. He was just beneath it.
A ball and a strike. Well, it appeared in the first inning or two when Abbott came on that he was a little inconsistent. He made some good pitches down, but then left some pitches up. Then after he was in the game an inning or two, he really made some good pitches.
Now the hitters have seen him one time through the lineup, at least one time.
Jesse in the hole, a ball and 2 strikes. Just 2 of the 6 runs off Anderson were earned, as it turns out.
We were talking about Jesse's numbers early. He's got a chance for a 100 RBI season if he stays healthy.
This one's going to be out of play. Well, he started the day with 42 runs batted in and 14 home runs. So he's among the league leaders in home runs. Let's see. Chili Davis started the day 6th in the league and runs batted in with 46. I'm not so sure. Jesse just missing the top 10 with the 42 figure. That pitch was up and Jesse fouled it back. Up out of the strike zone, it appeared. And the numbers on Barfield up to date.
People forget at one time in Toronto, not only was he a run producer, but he was a high average hitter, 300 and 290s.
A big cut. He's out on strikes for the second time today.
As for Jesse playing on the artificial surface at Old Exhibition Stadium, that helped his average a little bit, and that short right field fence helped him with the wind blowing out. Right through a little cut fastball.
That's the first out in the 7th and brings along Hensley Mullins. Hensley is 2 out of 3. But Abbott took care of him in short order in the 5th inning and starts him with a breaking ball for a strike. Abbott 2-0 with a 198 coming in. This is his 4th appearance. And he throws him a strike.
Well, you don't find too many losing records on a team that's playing the way the Twins are.
No. 42 and 26 overall.
Even some of the pitchers that started poorly, like Jack Morris. Jack's got 9 wins now.
High fly ball hit deep into right center field. And that's off the bottom of the wall. Mack with a good carom. 2 runs will score. And into second goes Mullins. Well, Mack got a great carom off the bottom of the wall as Mullins picks up his 3rd hit, driving in his 13th and 14th runs batted into the year. And the Yankees now lead 9-1. Kelly and Moss scoring on the double by Hensley Mullins, his 3rd double this year.
Well, we saw traces of that kind of power the opposite way and traces of brilliance with the bat last season. Not quite as much to this point. And Frank Howard keeps telling Hensley Mullins, you have got great talent, and one day it's going to all kick in.
Espinosa fouls this one out of play for a strike. Well, it's been a little tough for Mullins because of the type of hitter he is and the way the Yankees have had to use him. It's difficult for him to try to stay sharp and not play as any more than he has. Espinosa chases this one, and yet it's a catch-22. He can't play a lot because he was struggling.
And I don't think Hensley, but he's not unlike a lot of sluggers. I don't think he'll ever be an outstanding hitter against outstanding pitching.
Sure.
But there are enough mistakes made that if he...
This one gets beneath Harper, and Mullins will go to 3rd. A wild pitch.
I get the feeling some of it for Hensley is that he outguesses himself, and sometimes he's guessing away and he gets a bad pitch inside, he can't handle it, or vice versa. And when he starts getting a little bit better control of the strike zone and gets the thought process straightened out, he's got a chance to put some numbers on the board. Harper just lifts the tailgate and scoots by.
Infield in. Espinosa fouls it away to stay alive. 2 more runs home for the Yankees in the 7th. It's been a big day offensively. The Yankees have 9 runs, 12 hits. Everybody close. This one stays too high. A little breaking ball. Garrett on deck. And Espinosa's out on strikes. 7 strikeouts for Abbott.
He's done with a variety of pitches too, hasn't he?
He
appears to be a
indeed.
fork ball and maybe a palm ball, a little cut fastball.
Well, that last pitch really dropped out of sight, and it was hard.
I don't know if it was a hard splitter or it was a greaser. Take your pick.
So there's Bob Garrett. Back and out of play for strike 1. Guerin's single homer run in the 2nd inning since then has struck out twice. Both times facing Abbott. His single came against Anderson. Another one foul, out of play. No balls, 2 strikes to count.
Actually, I checked with PR director Jeff Idelson just to make sure. It wasn't his birthday today.
It's not his birthday.
It was yesterday.
Oh,
he was 27, so...
That's why he was calling home to make sure it was today or he was right yesterday.
Still checking.
He's calling. He says, I found
City
out
Hall.
it was yesterday. This one foul.
Now he's checking with Arthur Richmond behind him. Is it my birthday today or yesterday? Arthur's saying, Jeff, we'll check with City Hall.
He says, I remember when you joined the club, I thought your birthday was in June, late in June, somewhere around the 22nd, maybe the 23rd. He missed the breaking ball. It's 1-2 now. Jeff is on the phone again. He's one more call to make sure.
All the calls he's going to get, he's going to have to enlarge his date book and his numbers up. He's going to have a lot of calls. Now with a bachelor like that.
Aaron drives it into left, Gladden back, and it's going to be over his head and one hop to the wall. Another run home as Buellens crosses the plate. It's a double for Guerin. And the Yankees make it 10-1. Second run batted into the day for Guerin. That's his second double of the year. Well, Abbott continues alternately to make unhittable pitches at times, and then he'll leave a pitch up.
Well, we're talking about the bottom four in the lineup. Buellens, Espinosa, Guerin, and Pat Kelly been on base 8 times. In the middle of a lot of the run scoring today.
Pat Kelly takes strike one. Kelly. Jan pops it up, and it's going to carry out of play. Back on top the Yankee dugout. Brian Harper just made a fan here in New York by flipping that ball back.
Not too many years ago, to show you how bad baseball's PR department was, if you threw a ball into the stands, you were fined $50. Now they're making a lot more friends.
Foul ball. This one into the upper deck. 13 hits for the Yankees, 7 of those against Abbott. This one foul. Holding the count at 0-2. Pat Sheridan has moved into the on-deck circle. Speaking of baseball PR, he's checking again.
Is he auditioning for a part in a movie or something we're showing so often?
Kelly lifts this one into right. Larkin takes care of that to retire the Yankees, but not before the Yankees put 3 more runs on the board. They leave a man, 3 hits in the inning. Through 7, 10-1 Yankees. Yankees baseball brought to you in part by Mizuno, state-of-the-art performance products for baseball and softball. The Yankees have a 10-1 lead, and they've made a couple changes on the scorecard as we move into the 8th. Scott Erickson, meanwhile, looks on. He'll be pitching tomorrow night against Jeff Johnson. Pat Sheridan is now in right field, and Carlos Rodriguez is at second base. Now blocked. Takes the ball too low. There's Sheridan in right field. Rodriguez now at second. A little close. 2-0. Kabanecki in the neighborhood of 97 pitches, somewhere in there right now. Down to third. Kelly with a long throw. Moss is there. Now blocks the first out in the 8th.
Talking to Jim Cott, who does some of the Twins broadcasting. Here today with Ted Robbins, he was saying that Tom Kelly is very protective of his young pitchers. Many times when they get to 100 pitches, he gets them out of there, whether they're effective or not. He's looking for the long haul. We'll see if Stump Merrill will be that same way. And Kamenicki go out for the 9th as he's around that 100-pitch mark.
Randy Bush takes a strike. Bush with a homer in the 3rd, accounting for the only run so far. Hits this one high and deep to right, and he's going to have himself another one. Bush belts his 2nd home run of the day. That's his season's total right there. It's 10-2.
And as Kamenicki goes around the league, and also especially in Yankee Stadium, I think he's going to find more and more when the left-handed pull hitters come into this ballpark. Does not necessarily mean you cannot pitch them inside. You can see where Bush goes. This ball is the outer 3rd of the plate, right around the knees or just above, and they can hook the ball. That's the way Mouse will do that. A Hall can do that.
Ken Bush has done it.
Yeah.
By the way, they threw the ball back this time. The ball they hit in the 3rd, I don't think they ever threw that one back, but this one came back, and here's Chili Davis, too low, ball 1. Davis flied out, struck out, flied out again, as Steve Howe starts to loosen in the bullpen, and Steve Farr along with Howe. There's a strike, 1-1.
Heck, they've had a good rest. Seldom have we seen Yankee pitchers going into the 8th, and it's kind of refreshing to see some of the kids leading the way in that regard. Scott Sanderson's been outstanding at that. Then you're going to start searching.
1 ball, 1 strike.
This Yankee rotation is still going to need the condition of wet, and Pasquale is a little happier but still not ready. They're going to need Tim Leary to start pitching better for them.
Yes, they are.
If they're going to sustain any winning streaks.
Too close. 2-1.
Whatever trade there was, consideration given to Tim Leary, who's not pitched well. Any of the trades that may have been talked about have gone down the drain. Pasquale says it's not the shoulder, even though he keeps icing it and throws a little bit every day. It's a muscle beneath the armpit. So there's no concern at this point for the shoulder where he had the surgery.
Hopper, short left, and Kelly from 3rd handles it. 2 outs. Pat Kelly taking care of the pop-up by Davis.
Yeah, he's still got some life to his fastball. He'll be able to jam at Chili Davis, as he just did.
Now Brian Harper. Harper's 1 out of 3. His hit came back in the 4th, the double. There's a strike. So he has a 12-game hitting streak now with that double in the 4th. You
know, there's a pretty nice competition going now. And not only on this pitching staff, but for different positions on this ball club, which is always healthy. But you ever notice, Dwayne, how when Kamenicki comes off the field, he's sitting next to Jeff Johnson, and then Wade Taylor's in the area, and each one trying to egg each other on, but also outdo the other, which is kind of a nice feeling of competition within that pitching staff, the starting rotation.
Well, and it sort of goes back to what we mentioned at the outset, comparing the numbers now to those of a year ago. But it's more than just numbers that you're comparing. Makeup of the club, feeling on this team. A ball, 2 strikes. New Jeff Johnson. He'll be pitching tomorrow night. We'll have that game right here on MSG Network. 1 ball, 2 strikes. He took something off, got it up there a little bit high. 2-2. Yankees 27-36 on the year, and there's the breakdown as we compare what they've done from year to year. Kamenicki close on that one, thought he might have had it. Full count.
Well, that home run department, only the Detroit Tigers had more. The Cubs and the Yankees were tied in home runs hit. going into today.
Here it is.
Out.
And Harper's hit by the pitch. Got him on the elbow.
He's gone.
Forearm.
Pitch like that tries to overthrow it. There's a sign there when he threw a breaking ball that he overthrew early on, and when the legs get a little tired of the arm, he said, well, I'm going to give it a little bit extra, as he did on the breaking ball that hung to Harper early, and this fastball that got completely away from him.
Stump Merrill's on his way to the mound. He's had Howe and Farr in the bullpen.
He just rechecked. He looked over his shoulder to talk to Mark Connors. And fans got to understand that he's trying to protect Kamenicki. They do not know. And they, of course, want him to get a complete game. And they don't know how tired he is, and Stump's got the charts.
So Kamenicki has pitched 2 outs into the 8th inning, 7 2/3, and unofficially 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Well, he's up around 111 pitches right now.
And he's got to be more than happy with this performance. Got run support, but top hitting team in the American League holds him to 2 runs and 6 base hits.
And he gets a nice hand from the fans here. Fans coming to their feet as Scott Kamenicki departs. And Jeff Johnson right there to greet him, along with Perez. And the Yankees out in front.
Stump loves these boos.
Oh, yeah.
He loves them.
It's 10-2 now. This call to the bullpen brought to you by New York Telephone. We're all connected. New York Telephone. Kamenicki out of there. Steve Howe on in relief. First pitch to Gene Larkin is too high. Ball 1. Larkin, a switch hitter, batting right-handed now.
Relieved by another Wolverine.
That's right. Kamenicki, a degree from the University of Michigan. There's a strike. It's 1-1. And Steve Howe out of Michigan. 2-0 with a save. Two and 1 the count.
Well, I think you can fairly well document, as now Moss plays behind the runner at first base, Harper, that Steve Howe came up to the bullpen and added a lot of life and tremendous production and a sense of competition there, too.
Rodriguez handles this one with the flip to Espinosa. And the top of the 8th is over. 1 run, 1 hit. A man left. Bottom of the 8th coming. Yankees 10, Twins 2.
Encore play of today's Yankees-Minnesota Twins game tonight at 7:30 here on MSG Network.
Yankees have a 10-2 lead. Bottom of the 8th. Coming up, Scott Kamenicki, 7 2/3 innings of work. And he pitched well again in his second start in the major leagues. So he's finished for the day. And a new battery for the Twins. Terry Leach becomes their 3rd pitcher. And Junior Ortiz is the new catcher as Leach follows Anderson and Abbott to the mound.
Reminds you of Hyde from the side. Remember Dick Hyde? Junior Ortiz. Get an inning in today and catch Erickson tomorrow. It's been the pattern of Tom Kelly.
Is he in there for his brain right now?
He said he's the best one going now that Bench is retired.
They've got to have my brain in there somewhere.
He would make a great David Letterman guest. Or Al Trautwig. Sports Forum. Funny guy.
Here's Pat Sheridan getting an at-bat after taking over in right field in the top of the inning. Looking at the left-hander, and he takes a strike. Sheridan, an extra outfielder and a left-handed bat we have on the bench. 1 ball, 1 strike. Leach, no wins, no losses, nor any saves, and earned an average of .321. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
You're left-handed against a right-hander like Leach, who throws from that angle. It's always funny to see the breaking ball coming up and into you, which is the action he gets. So that severe sidearm delivery.
And the fly ball to center, sending Mack back to the track, and just in front of the warning track, hauls it in. First out of the 8th inning. On the Wiz scoreboard in the American League, the out-of-town games, Oakland over Boston, 4-2 at Fenway. The Indians trailing the Blue Jays in the 8th, 3-1. Kansas City leading the Orioles 5-1 in the 6th. Milwaukee 2-0 on Seattle in the 6th. Don Mattingly takes the ball down and in. Mattingly 0 for 4, but he hit the ball back in the 2nd inning. Produced 2 runs. This one foul ball that was eventually ruled an error on Randy Bush at first base.
Yeah, that's one of those, and I know Mattingly wouldn't do it, but somebody ought to talk to the official scorer and then talk to some of the other people, and you might find out they could change that. I mean, it doesn't happen too often. They did it earlier with Ripken, didn't he, in his errorless streak, where they changed what was given an error to him, and they gave a base hit after they talked to a lot of the parties involved.
2-1 the count. 2-2.
I mean, some hitters would instigate something like that. Mattingly doesn't happen to be one of them, but on his behalf to get him 2 RBIs. Not that he needs them. I thought it was a legitimate base hit.
A base hit to the right side. So Mattingly collects a single. The 14th Yankee hit today. And Roberto Kelly is going to be the hitter now. In the National League on the Wiz scoreboard, the Mets lead Atlanta. Houston with a lead on the Phillies. St. Louis and San Diego tied in the 8th. Montreal tied with the Reds and Cincinnati in the 6th. No score early, Pittsburgh, LA, and the Cubs and the Giants playing at Candlestick, no score.
Early on, if you were considering manager of the year prospects up to the All-Star break, you'd sure have to think of Joe Torre and Tom Kelly, wouldn't you?
Out of nowhere. There's a strike to Roberto Kelly. Kelly 4 for 4. 3 singles and a home run.
Look at that.
And he's going to get his 5th hit of the day. Roberto Kelly drops it into right center. Mattingly stops at 2nd. Kelly with 5 hits today. 3 runs batted in for Kelly and 5 hits.
He has hit them to all areas of the field, including the seats. Well, waiting just that split second longer is something that Howard has preached to Kelly. He said, especially when you're tired from a lot of wear and tear and a lot of innings played. You got to cut the swing down.
Here's Kevin Moss. Ball 1, 2 men on with 1 out.
And that a shocking pink hat has left this stadium yet.
Crowd is just under 37,000.
Big innings and winning will do.
Moss drives one into left center field, a long run. Gladden still going, and he makes the catch, bobbles the ball, and holds on. And the runners will have to go back.
Kelly rounded second base, but he did retouch, so he is safe.
Moss drove it a long way. A long run for Gladden. Now watch him juggle the ball out there.
Well, those runners can move, and if they're going to tag up, as soon as it hurts the glove for the first time. And Kelly wasn't certain. He was about 2 strides past second base. Then when he saw the bobble, he thought maybe I should keep going, but unfortunately, in fact, wasn't it last year where Kelly did the same thing and he forgot to retag and they put him out? I remember one of the games we did. This time he retouches second and then goes back to first.
Carlos Rodriguez hitting .231. This is his first at bat. And it's a strike.
That was a good sign for Kevin Moss to hit the ball with that kind of authority the opposite way. Talked about earlier, he used to hit a lot of balls to left and right center field and not be exclusively a pull hitter. Should help his average if he keeps that up.
Back through the middle, a base hit for Rodriguez. Mattingly's going to be waved home. The throw by Mack. Up the line, and he missed Mattingly. Mattingly scores. 11-2. So Rodriguez drives in a run. Kelly stopped at second. The Yankees have a run off Leach.
That ball came very close to hitting Don Mattingly as it kept tailing right into him as he rounded third base. Kirby Puckett has an outstanding arm, except he's sitting the bench today. This ball tails in and just went right in front of the face of Don Mattingly with a good slide away from the tag again. Remember earlier we saw him slide to the outside of the bag and steal a run for the Yankees and catch the plate. Does he have awareness what's going on? He knew exactly where the catcher was, where the throw was.
Mullins bounces one to Nettles, foul. And Nettles bobbles it, strike one. Here's the slide again as Mattingly rounds third and heads for home.
And that's why you put a Carlos Rodriguez in that switch hitting bat in the number 5 slot. Get those 2 out base hits, driving those runs.
Too low. 1 ball, 1 strike. Mullins with his 3 for 4 day right now is hitting .231. A couple of runs batted in for him. Two and two. Twins coming into this one having won 19 out of their last 20. It has been all Yankees today. And Mullins caught looking to retire the side. But the Yankees pick up a run. 3 hits and 2 left on base. At the end of 8, 11-2 Yankees. The Yankees have an 11-2 lead as this game swings into the 9th inning. Stump Merrill saw the Yankees score 6 in the 2nd inning and take command of this one. Steve Farr is the new pitcher following Kamenecki and Howe. 3rd of an inning for Howe, and now Farr in relief.
We have raved, as most people have, of the job that this bullpen has done, and Steve Farr has been a big part of it. And really, when you look at it, there's been no one down who's been called upon to do a job who has failed.
Here's Shane Mack. Farr starts him with a strike. Well, over the last month, there is a little question. The bullpen has been the strength of this club.
And over the last 5 ball games the bullpen's been in, they have not allowed an earned run.
1-1. Tomorrow night, Jeff Johnson goes against Scott Erickson. Up the right side, foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Yankees have out hit Minnesota 16-6 and lead 11-2. Foul. It's a ball and 2 strikes.
If you look at the numbers on Steve Farr of his last 23 outings, ERA below 1.
Dates back 2 months now to the 23rd of April. 0.98. To the right side, and it skips by Moss. Moss charging it, trying to come up with it backhanded, and it skipped through into right.
Those Massey shots are hard to come up with. Really hoppy cue shots with a lot of spin, diving away from it. When it hit, it was hit so softly, instead of skidding, it just bounded up over his glove.
So Mack reaches. There's Scott Leyes. Kevin Moss charged with an error. And Leyes looks at strike one. That's foul down the left side. 0-2.
So Leyes now lives in Mamaroneck. Where's that? Well, why am I asking you? You're not from this area.
Yeah.
Close, gotta be
but
close.
It's close, sure. This one foul to stay alive. 0-2. Just minutes from the ballpark, I think.
Minutes, is it? A couple minutes or 50 minutes?
No, probably 30, maybe.
Is that walking or driving? At a jog?
And if it's driving, is it the speed limit or under or over?
So it's probably less than 5 miles.
Depends on the time of day, I guess. And the day you're talking about. Still 2 strikes on Leyes. He's fouled away 3 pitches after getting behind 0-2.
They have really thrown Leyes, the right-handers, a lot of breaking ball, and it seems like they're troublesome to him.
Up and in, a ball and 2 strikes. Farr worked Tuesday night in Toronto. Made a couple pitches and got Alomar to ground into a double play. Picked up the save. This one into short right near the line, and again it's foul, and Sheridan into the sidewall out there. Comes away limping a little bit. Well, he hit the wall at a pretty good rate.
We've seen Jesse Barfield, so familiar with this area, somehow pull up short almost at full speed, and Pat Sheridan, intent upon the baseball and not lose sight of it. He hit that ankle pretty hard when he skidded into the lower part of that wall. He's hurt, I'll tell you.
Another foul ball out of play. So Leyes shooting some souvenirs around. Kamenicki for 7 2/3, Howe for a third, and now Steve Farr. And he got it. Dropped down. Wow. So Farr, after seeing Leyes foul away 5 pitches, dropped down on him and struck him out.
You know, this is a pitch I don't think we've seen it from Kamenicki in his first 2 starts, but they tell me that one pitch that's been very effective from Kamenicki that he learned is dropping down with 2 strikes in certain right-handed hitters. We just saw Farr do it to Leyes and just wipe him out.
Greg Gagne 0 for 3 with a strikeout today. Fouls 1 out of play. Strike 1.
There were at least 8 pairs of hands that touched that in the upper deck and finally almost volleyballed it down to the lower deck.
1-1 to count. Tom Kelly looking on from the Minnesota dugout. This one off the end of the bat foul.
You wonder how many times Tom Kelly's been asked the question already, well, when do you think the balloon's going to break? You guys aren't supposed to be that good. And he just has a pat answer. He said, I'm enjoying it. I come to the ballpark, put my uniform on, and watch the guys play. He does more than that, but that's pretty much been his standard answer. But they have some pretty good quality players here. If the young pitchers keep pitching the way they have, Erickson's and Tappan and Guthrie now seems to be on a little bit of a beam.
Yep.
He's got those closers down there. He's got Aguilera and he's got Bedrosian.
Tomorrow night, the Yankees will be looking at Scott Erickson, who is 11-2 with a 1.51 earned run average. Gagne out on strikes. So far, picks up 2 strikeouts here in the ninth.
You know, the last time the Yankees saw Erickson, they say he didn't have his best stuff. He'd been pitching with a little bit of a tender bicep or in the elbow area. Cut fastball. Upstairs. That's the pitch that years ago we used to call the slider. You know, break 6 inches maximum. It was hard, almost the speed of a fastball. Now they call it a cut fastball, and some of those that look like slurve they call a slider now, with a bigger break to it. Same pitch, different terminology.
Here's Dan Gladden. Low outside, ball 1. Well, they used to talk about the slider almost staying on the same plane.
Yeah, and then back
just moving a little
back
bit.
in the older days, they used to call the slider a nickel curveball. This is when
2 balls, no strikes to count to Gladden. Tomorrow night's game 7:30. And we'll be with you at 7 with the pregame of the Yankee scorecard. 2-1 now. That should be, well, it'll be 2 very good young pitchers in Johnson and Erickson. A liner out of the reach of Rodriguez into right. Sheridan with a pickup. So Mack, who reached on the error, stops at second. Gladden has a base hit. 2 men aboard with 2 outs in the 9th inning for Chuck Knobloch.
Second baseman, Chuck.
nice now that Stump has that extra player where he can rest some of the people in games like this. He can either a blowout either direction. You're blown out or you're blowing somebody else out. And doesn't seem like much, but sometimes the pressure being away from it, like sacks, an inning or so. And the Rodriguez who can play there, it helps.
Knobloch looks at a breaking ball for a strike. You know, Barr picked up that save just when he got the double play ball in Toronto, but before then he hadn't pitched since the 16th, so it's been about a week. This one foul out of play. The count is 0-2. He pitched 3 innings in Texas, 3 scoreless innings on the 16th, and then came back 2 days later and made just 2 pitches to get the double play and finish off the game in Toronto.
And he showed at Kansas City that he has a very resilient arm. It can be used in a lot of different ways.
The 0-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. An 11-2 ball game. Now Block fouls it out of play.
Dropped down again as he did to get Lance. And this one stayed upstairs, a little bit inside part of the plate. Didn't get it away. Well, they're packed up ready to go, aren't they? That's what happens when you've got a laugher.
And a short. He goes to first. Espinosa to Mouse, and the Yankees win this one 11-2. No runs, 1 hit, an error, and 2 left in the 9th inning for Minnesota. And the Yankees have snapped their little losing streak, and it extended to 3. They pick up a victory in this series over the Minnesota Twins. The Twins coming in having won 4 straight and 19 out of their last 20. But this day belongs to the Yankees, 11-2. And today on the New York Times play of the game, we go back to the 2nd inning when Don Mattingly put the ball on the ground to Bush at first base. This not only kept the inning going, but allowed 2 runs to score to make it 4-0 and set up the home run by Roberto Kelly to make it a 6-0 ball game. That our New York Times play of the game. Yankees are winners 11-2. Back in a moment. Yankees are winners this afternoon at Yankee Stadium before a crowd of just under 37,000. And on the Jeep Eagle game summary for the Yankees, 11-16-2. The Yankees strand 7 for Minnesota, 2-7-2 with 9 left. Kamenecki, the winner, 2-0. Anderson, the losing pitcher, 4-5. The first time the Yankees have ever beaten Anderson. He is 5-1 lifetime. Roberto Kelly, a home run for the Yankees. Bush hit a pair for Minnesota. Took 2 hours and 56 minutes to play this ball game. The Yankees stopped the losing streak, Tony, and pick up a victory over a red-hot ball club. And again, beating a fella, Alan Anderson, whom they had never beaten.
And Kamenecki was very impressive again, wasn't he? You know, I really thought that Kamenecki's off-speed stuff was better in his first start that he made in Toronto, and yet he just made the pitches when he has to, and a lot of run support doesn't hurt you. Roberto Kelly with a big day, but how about the last 4 hitters in that lineup? They were 8 for 16 combined, and when you do that, especially the way the Yankees can struggle against left-handed starters, that's a big help.
Yeah, and then the first 2 outings for Kamenecki, I think you have to like the assortment of things that he has shown. He's shown the ability to throw a pretty good fastball. He's been able to spot some good pitches and come back with off-speed stuff, breaking stuff. So a full assortment.
Yeah, and I think it's a tribute to the Yankee coaches. And again, Mark Connor's the one who gives a lot of the credit to Monk Meyer, some to Tony Cloninger, that some of these kids have already come up and they know how to change speeds on their curveballs. We saw that with Wade Taylor, and we saw with Kamenecki again today, and that's very impressive when they makes your fastball look so much better, as you well know.
And we talked about the spirit of this ball club. The Yankees had been beaten 2 very tough games, 2 one-run games by the Minnesota Twins, the hottest team in baseball for the last month. And they came back and exploded today.
Well, they like Yankee Stadium. They struggled here early, but they're now just a few games above 500. They still have a lot of rough games on the road before the All-Star break. If the pitching continues to go like it has with the young pitchers, it gives you a much better chance to win on the road, where it's a lot tougher to do. Your defense has got to be a little bit sharper, where your bullpen's got to be a little bit sharper, and hitting gets a little bit tougher too. So they keep getting the quality starts from these kids, and another one coming tomorrow, and Jeff Johnson. It's a very positive sign, and that's what you look for after a team that lost 95 last year. What can you look toward that is positive, and the promise is certainly there with these young kids.
Johnson and Erickson tomorrow night here at Yankee Stadium. The Yankees a big victory, 11-2, as Roberto Kelly had 5 hits, including a home run. We'll pause for this. From Yankee Stadium, again, the final score this afternoon, the Yankees 11 and the Minnesota Twins 2. Up next, the postgame report with Al Trautwig. Our next game tomorrow night when the Yankees wrap up the series against the Twins, starting with the Yankee scorecard at 7 p.m. New York Yankees baseball has been brought to you by Bud Light, and everything else is just alike. By New York Telephone, we're all connected. New York Telephone. And by the New York Times. Read Michael Martinez on the Yankees, only in the New York Times.
To bunt or not to bunt, that is the question. Whether it is nobler to lay one down the line or to swing for the fences. To play, a chance to win, and by a win to say we end this dreadful streak. A hit, my kingdom for a hit.
If it's out there, it's in here. The 9X Yellow Pages. Why would anyone need another?
Game report in front of a sea of pink made up of 36,952 fans. The Yankees had some laughing to do, with little laughing over the past couple of weeks. 11-2 the final over the Minnesota Twins, who lose for only the 3rd time in their last 25 games. Roberto Kelly is the Citgo performer of the game. Citgo, home of high-quality gasolines with HTA 1000 super detergent, salutes him for his 5-for-5 effort today, his first 5-hit game in his major league career. And joining us in the studio now is Roberto Kelly, who, coming into this game, Roberto, had to be thinking that this was a long stretch. It was a long stretch where you seemed to be struggling a little bit.
Yeah, it was kind of hard because, you know I'm not a 240 hitter. I just had a little slump. It was too long for me. It was hard for me to deal with it, but, you know, guys keep telling me, you know, keep your head up, you know, keep swinging the bats, things going to happen, and, you know, finally something happened today.
Now, you look at 5 for 5 and a home run, your 8th of the season, you have to think that, well, he must have done something different or spent more time in the batting cage or had Stump Merrill put his arm around him at some point or something happened.
Well, really, I didn't do anything different that I've been doing in the past, just that, you know, if you look at a few of those hits, any other day, somebody would have dove for it and caught it, you know. They just seem to fall in for me today, and, you know, I'm happy. I just hope that this is the start of something good.
Now, Roberto, the team was feeling so good a couple of weeks ago, now another bad stretch. Do you get the feeling that with Wade Taylor's pitching last night and Scott's pitching today and the big offense that maybe this is the beginning of something?
Yeah, maybe we want something. You know, in the past, you know, you just couldn't score some runs. We had good pitching. But, you know, today we came together. We got the hits when we needed to get the hits. And it seems like, you know, we're going to get back in the streak. And, you know, this division, anybody can win it. So you just got to stay close. You don't want to be too far behind, you know, coming September, October. So we're just going to go out there and play hard and see what happens.
Now, Roberto, you had 4 singles today and the home run. So you had a little bit of hitting for every field, basically, and some hitting for power. We're going to take a look at the home run that Roberto hit today. Why don't you tell me what kind of pitch it was and how it felt?
It's more like a slider. It was a 2-strike pitch. You know, they like to come inside when I have 2 strikes. So I was kind of looking for something inside. And he kind of hung the slider inside, so he just put a good swing at it, and the ball, you know, went out the park.
That was Paul Abbott in relief of Alan Anderson, who was knocked out by the Yankees after only 1 2/3 innings. Now, when the Yankees get out to a 6-0 lead after a big inning, you have to really feel that this is going to be a very good day. Did you get the feeling that it was going to be a good day for you personally, too?
Yeah, definitely, because I felt pretty good at the plate today. You know, I haven't felt this good at the plate in a long time. And when I got the first hit, then the home run, I said, hey, you know, maybe I'm onto something. So I just went up there and tried to get another hit and end up with 5.
Now, Roberto, we've spent an awful lot of time talking with you last year, extensive amount of time interviewing and talking to you about your Player of the Year award here on MSG. This season, you seem to show up with a very business-like approach to things. How did it affect you when you go into a slump like that?
Well, it does, because, you know, in the past, I guess people didn't expect too much from me. But now, you know, I'm 4 years in the big leagues now. A lot of people expect me a lot from me. I'm expecting a lot from myself. So I just don't want to let people down. I just want to go out there and not put any pressure on myself, but I want to produce like people expect me to. When I'm not doing it, you know, I kind of get down on myself a little bit. But, you know, I just got to learn that things like that's going to happen. And I hope that this is the start of something good.
Now, you ran today also 3 stolen bases. One of them you got lucky on. You should have been picked off, but you weren't. You got 3 stolen bases. That's something else that can get you involved in a game, can't it?
Yeah, definitely, because, I mean, I have my running game that, you know, that got me here. And when I start running, that's when I really feel like I'm playing well. You know, I mean, the hits are going to come, but I got to get my running going. And today I run pretty good, and, you know, it makes a just great good day today.
What was it about Alan Anderson's move back in the first inning that had Steve Sachs and you so completely fooled?
Well, it's kind of tough because he hangs. He just don't go straight to the plate. He kind of hangs and see if you're going to go, you're going to stay, then he goes to the plate. But he got us pretty good, but, you know, I was lucky that, you know, he got to the ball away.
All right, Roberto, great day today. 5 for 5 with a home run, Roberto Kelly, and 3 stolen bases. He's our player of the game, and for joining us on our post-game report, he'll receive a Be My Guest restaurant certificate from American Express, honored at restaurants in the U.S. and Canada, accepting the American Express card. Be My Guest, the perfect wedding, anniversary, or thank you gift. To order with the card, call 1-800-535-GIFT. Membership has its privileges. We'll get back on the post-game report here on MSG. Michael Kay is emerging from the Yankee locker room, and we have highlights to show you. Stay with us. For the Yankees, their best output of the season, 11 runs against 2 for the Minnesota Twins. Kamenicki gets the win. He's now 2-0, and Alan Anderson loses for the first time in his career against the Yankees. Here's our little architectural salute to the South Bronx. They don't build buildings like that anymore, and they don't put facades like that anymore on stadiums around America. We have a chance now to look at the highlights of today. Getting back to baseball, here's Bob Guerin in the 2nd inning, and this was an inning that would knock Alan Anderson out. That single scores Hensley Mullins. That's Bob Guerin's first hit at the stadium since April April. Yankees led 1-0. Good base running by Espinosa. Now with 2 outs, Don Mattingly grounds to Randy Bush. It is an E3, folks. 2 runs come across, the 3rd and the 4th for the Yankees, Bob Guerin and Roberto Kelly. And then Roberto Kelly knocks in a 2-run home run that gave the Yankees a 6-0 lead. It would be the end for Alan Anderson. Now top of the 3rd, Randy Bush, who committed the error, tries to atone for his bad play at first, filling in for Ken Herbeck. And he delivers a long solo home run, his first of the year. Twins were on the board 6-1. Very next batter, Scott Kamenicki shows that he can settle down, and he roars back to K, the DH, Chili Davis. Now top of the 4th, Kamenicki, with runners at 1st and 2nd, pitches out of it. First, he gets Scott Leyes looking, then got a fly to pitch out of the inning. Top of the 7th, he cruised again. Here he'll strike out Greg Gagne with a good heater. Bottom of the 7th, Hensley Mullen celebrates his birthday. He knocks in 2 runs with a double, also had 2 singles. Bam Bam's 3rd hit of the day made it 8-1 for the Yankees. Then Bob Guerin, who, as I said, has struggled at the stadium since April, came to the plate. He would step in and hit a double. That would bring around Kevin Moss, and the Yankees' offensive day just continued to cruise. Gladden played it off the wall. Hensley celebrated. Randy Bush had a 2nd home run of the game in the 8th. Carlos Rodriguez knocked in another run in the bottom of the 8th for the Yankees, and that would do it. 11-2. Joining me now is Michael Kay of the New York Daily News. Having come from the locker room, I think the first thing I want to talk about is Stump Merrill pulls Scott Kamenicki after 7 2/3 innings and gets booed like a manager hasn't been booed here in a while.
Well, Stump sort of took a humorous slant on the whole thing and said, you know, if they knew that my mother was in the stands, they might not have booed me as loud. But then I asked him a little bit further about that, and I said, how old is your mom? And he said, I think she's 82, and I think it was her birthday today, but I'm not sure. I said, well, it might have been her who started the booing. I mean, you don't even know it's her birthday.
What do you think the reaction is of the fans? What does it mean? I mean, you know, Stump, every time he goes out to yank a pitcher lately is hearing it.
Well, I think Stump is getting a reputation sort of as a Dr. Hook, and I think that the fans are really...
It's Captain Hook, Mike.
Well, Sparky Anderson was captain, so we'll call him Dr. Hook.
All right.
Okay? But I think that the fact that he's taking out the young pitchers who are really a real reason to come to the stadium now. They're a source of entertainment. They're a source of hope for the fans. They want to see a complete game. They want to see these kids do well. And when you yank them to have Steve Howe have work and Steve Farr get some work, I think the fans are a little bit disappointed.
Well, Mike, if you were going to write an article about today's game, you've been in the locker room, got a sense of things, what would you be thinking about this team right now? Wade Taylor pitches pretty well last night, even though he loses, and Scott Kamenicki pitches very well today.
Well, definitely the kid pitchers are the story. I mean, they've all done very well. Jeff Johnson pitched a brilliant game in Toronto. Taylor pitched very well yesterday, probably pitched better yesterday than he did with his first 2 wins. And Kamenicki's had 2 excellent starts in a row. I think the Yankees are looking at these 3 kids to be in the rotation the rest of the year. I mean, don't worry about everybody else coming back, the Perez's and the Witts. They are going to find starts for these 3 kids, and they're going to get answers to see if these kids are in their rotation for the future.
What about the captain? Mattingly has downplayed the severity of his back injury, yet I thought he looked very weak at the plate today.
He's had a couple of games where he didn't have that great a swing, and I think that one of those days was today. But you know, Donnie has the type of swing also that he's going to look bad some games, and you know, you never can tell if it's the back or if he's just off or if his stroke is off. But I'll tell you one thing: the Yankees are serious enough about Don Mattingly and what he means to this team that they're not going to run him out there for 4 at-bats if his back is seriously hurt. And I think that he knows that his back is fragile enough that if there's a pain that's serious enough for him not to hit, he will sit down. So I think right now they just rest him in the field because that probably puts more pressure on his back than the hitting, and they run him out there. Again, I'm not sure if the back is what causes it, but I would say no, knowing Don Mattingly.
Now, tomorrow night we'll find out if this was an aberration. Today the Twins played without Kirby Puckett and Kent Herbeck, and tomorrow the Yankees go up against one of the hottest pitchers in baseball, Scott Erickson, and Jeff Johnson, another kid, gets to go again.
Well, Stump Merrill, you know, they asked him about that. Gee, it's too bad this can only last 1 game. He said, well, listen, you know, Erickson has a number in the right-hand column. He said, so he can be beat. He's not perfect, and you know, we'll go out there and we'll give it a shot. You know, we hit him well the last time when they were in Minnesota. They hit Erickson pretty well. They just didn't get a well-pitched ball game. So the Yankees have a chance tomorrow. They're going to be that type of team. We've said this ad nauseum throughout the season. They're young. They're going to have great games. They're going to have poor games. They're going to have stretches where they lose 9 out of 11, and then they'll have a game like today. So that maybe this will be the start of a positive stretch for the Yankees.
Now, Mike doesn't normally dress this sharp for the post-game report. He'll be on Sports Desk later with Bob Page, and that's where he brings out the big duds. We'll get back to the post-game report. A little salute to the Eiffel Tower, and our talk of architecture continues. Back in the Bronx, there's the final today. The Yankees break their 3-game losing streak, and our director Leon Schweier continues to show us that he may have seen West Side Story in the last 24 hours. On the Nobody Beats the Wiz American League scoreboard, you see the Oakland A's got some revenge on the Red Sox 4-2. Toronto got by Cleveland again 3-1. Bottom of the 8th, Royals lead the Orioles by 1. Bottom of the 7th, Milwaukee leading Seattle also by 1. And in the bottom of the 7th, Chicago leads Texas 3-2. California, Detroit tonight. In the National League, Atlanta beat the Mets 4-3, coming from behind. Houston beat Philadelphia 6-4. Other finals, games in progress. That's it today in the National League. Promotional consideration given to Communicar, official car service of Madison Square Garden Corporation and its announcers, except for Tony Kubek. Final score once again, the Yankees beat the Twins 11-2. Tomorrow night it's Scott Erickson against Jeff Johnson. We'll see you at 7 with Yankee Scorecard. This has been a presentation of Madison Square Garden Productions Incorporated. As always, through the facilities of the Hughes Television Network, along the affiliates that bring you Madison Square Garden Network. For Dwayne Stats, Tony Kubek, and Michael Kay, I'm Al Trautwig. This has been the Yankees on MSG.